emphasis has been running the football. They're the only team, PB, in the SEC that has two backs over 400 yards to this point in the year.
Yeah.
So they're doing the things that they set out to in the preseason.
Yeah, but Rico Dowdle may not be 100% and even play in this game, but so it'll be Mon Denson along with Feaster as well, too. Real quick, which team do you trust more, Chris Doering, going into this game?
Oh, man, it's tough. I said it last night on the show. I think South Carolina's the best 3-4 team in the country. I don't know if that's kind words
That's
or not.
Weird flex, but
It's weird, but I think I trust South Carolina a little bit more at this point.
I would say South Carolina without question because you've got quarterback questions at Tennessee.
Yeah.
If you're talking about matching up the two teams, I'm going to start day one looking at who are the quarterbacks. Right now, we don't know what J.T. Stroud is.
I know that we've had some close games between them, right? The last 7 games
UT.
decided by less than 6 points. Hopefully we got a great one here. We know we got some great announcers on the call. Taylor Zarzour, Matt Stinchcomb, Alyssa Lang, take it away.
PB, you're seeing Jeremy Pruitt getting ready to run his balls onto the field against these South Carolina Gamecocks. One of the best entrances you'll see in college football. Running through the tee. Gamecocks and Vols from historic Neyland Stadium in Knoxville on a perfect October Saturday. Both of these teams have been fighting tooth and nail to get back in the race in the SEC East. Gamecocks at 3-4, Tennessee at 2-5. With the College Football Hall of Famer Matt Stinchcomb and Alyssa Lang, I'm Taylor Zarzour. Both of these teams had their hearts torn out last week. Tennessee lost to Alabama in a game that was much closer than the score would indicate. And South Carolina's upset it more than Florida for the way the game went in Columbia. How do they get back on track?
Well, both of these teams have shown improvement, and there have been some adventures, let's say, at some of the personnel and key spots, especially quarterback position. Last week, excellent performances in defeat. Now, the question will be, is there a false positive to take from a defeat? You lose to Florida. You lose to Alabama. Have you made enough improvement in what should be a measuring stick game for the second half of the season for both of these programs?
And I think the big question, Stinch, we all have is what will Jeremy Pruitt do at quarterback today? Brian Maurer sustained a concussion 2 weeks ago here against Mississippi State. Then last week, he was injured on the field and went through concussion protocol, taking that shove from true freshman Shane Lee of Alabama. Jarrett Garantano came into the game, improvised. Everybody in Knoxville knows what happened next. Then it was J.T. Shrout who cleaned things up at the end. Shrout will be the first quarterback on the field for UT, but we also may see some Juwan Jennings.
And it's that revolving door at quarterback that I think has really compromised Tennessee offensively. An offensive line that's starting to round into form, really starting to assert itself, a ground game that seemingly found its legs versus the Alabama defense. It's what are you going to do at quarterback? If Shrout's the first quarterback out there, if Juwan Jennings is the first Wildcat quarterback out there, and how much of Jarrett Garantano are we going to see here today?
We know we're going to see Ryan Helinski, the true freshman quarterback for the Gamecocks, who's been the unquestioned leader now for South Carolina. Muschamp's team beat Georgia, lost to Florida. Both were competitive. What was the difference?
Well, the takeaway is obviously a glaring statistic, but the other piece of it is this: defensively for South Carolina, a much improved unit, but they allowed the explosive plays to the Gators, and they kept those dampened versus the Georgia Bulldogs. Only one play that would be considered an explosive versus Georgia. They allowed 6 versus the Gators. That was the difference in the ball game last week.
UT won the toss and deferred South Carolina to receive the kick as Shi Smith waits on the kick from Paxton Brooks. And the Gamecocks will start at the 25-yard line. Ryan Hilinski has been the starter every week since the second week of the season. From Orange, California, went to Orange Lutheran High School, was named the 2018 National Player of the Year. His brothers Kelly, who played at Columbia and Weber State, and Tyler, who was at Wazoo, also played quarterback in college. Very quickly, a man that turned 19 on Thursday has become the leader of the Gamecocks.
They're forced into service, and they're expecting much improved play. They need it in their downfield passing game.
The throw on the first play, middle of the field is open, and streaking past midfield is Shi Smith. He beats everybody, 75 yards. That was the junior's 100th career catch, and boy, was it a big one.
Well, a lot is talked about Brian Edwards, but Shi Smith has certainly emerged as a primary target. And you can see why with that run after the catch. What a way to open up this game offensively for a quarterback that needs to build his confidence. You look at the top of the screen, and here's Shi Smith. He has been a menace out of the slot most of the season. You see confusion, safety late coming over. The slot defender a little bit confused in coverage, and Shi Smith is hit with a strike from Ryan Hilinski. Hit him in stride. You see some of these other offenses, you're allowed your receiver to run through a catch and then split the safeties and take it to the checkerboard.
Hilinski and the Gamecocks fired up as the Vols have allowed a touchdown on the opposition's opening drive in 4 of the last 5 games. I know Gamecocks fans remember Shi's catch in the Outback Bowl, the 53-yarder to help beat Michigan. That one for 75. Well, Tommy will kick it deep. And who runs on the field first for the Tennessee Volunteers?
Whoever it is already has pressure. You knew it coming into this game, but this game could not have started worse for Tennessee offensively, knowing the question marks that they have at quarterback. And it does look like Jauan Jennings will take the first snap as a Wildcat quarterback.
Jennings has 2 touchdown passes in his career, 2 for 4 career passing. He was a dual threat quarterback recruit coming out of high school. On the option, he keeps it, following blocks in front from Jordan, and that is right at the markers. It's a first down.
We saw a couple of Wildcat looks last week versus Alabama. Both of them were these type runs. Sweep outside, round to the left of the offensive formation. But Tennessee had other success as well, as we'll see JT Shrout now in the game.
Shrout, the redshirt freshman from Santa Clarita, California, is 3 for 10 passing on the season. And some more trickeration. Will Jennings load up now? He wants to, and throws the deep ball into double coverage, caught by Callaway. A flag comes in after the play.
We checked the flag, but how did that ball ever find its way to Callaway?
Ineligible receiver downfield, offense to the 55. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
That's the center, Brandon Kennedy.
Well, he ended up just kind of leaking down late. Brandon Kennedy, and obviously they're trying to run it, play action on a reverse look. Jauan Jennings gets 2 touches, but watch him kind of leak downfield. There he is. See Brandon Kennedy right there on your screen, well downfield. Easy call for the officials to make by the time Jennings threw it.
Needed a 33-yard play to the ground. It's Ty Chandler. And Ty goes to the 36-yard line. J.T. Shrout was recruited by both schools as he runs off the field as Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator, and Jeremy Pruitt throw the kitchen sink at Will Muschamp.
Well, you can tell, obviously, Jauan Jennings, the most targeted receiver, can't get the ball in his hands enough. Twice now already, either as a runner or as a reverse passer in this game.
2nd and 10. Fake jet sweep to Gray. Jennings straight ahead. Might have gotten a yard as Sherrod Green came in to make the tackle. Javon Kinlaw, one of the best defensive tackles in college football, was there too.
So now an obvious passing down, and this is the unknown. Talking to the coaches about J.T. Shrout, they liked him in practice. Jim Chaney said, but it doesn't matter. We don't know anything about this kid really in game, other than in mop-up duty last week when he came in for Jarrett Garantano.
One-on-one for Callaway, overshoots him. No flags, 4th down.
South Carolina's not a big pressure team, but that time they did blitz. Allow the new guy at quarterback, let him see it. Try to stand down the pressure, threw it downfield. South Carolina is very physical in the secondary. As you see Javon Kinlaw right in Shrout's face as he's trying to get that ball out. You see Israel Mukuamu. He's got a handful of jersey. That's, of course, what Jeremy Pruitt is lobbying the officials on the sideline.
Joe Doyle gets it off as a short punt. Takes a Tennessee bounce out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. 44-yard punt for the Vols. Gamecocks on top.
You could see in that previous play, Jeremy Pruitt unhappy. Wasn't happy last week, and you see why. Israel Mukuamu, he's got a handful of jersey. And, you know, if the argument is that that ball was uncatchable from J.T. Shrout, well, it's uncatchable because the defensive back is holding Marquez Callaway virtually throughout the entirety of his route. Ended up spinning Callaway completely around towards the end of it.
And, right. His whole argument is he had a handful of jerseys. It doesn't matter if the ball went in the bench. If you're being held like that, both of these teams are tired of arguing for themselves the last couple of weeks as Tavian Feaster, the Clemson transfer, gets it up to the 24-yard line. Now let's see who is kind of a big deal, brought to you by Old Trapper. See that right after the play. Lewinsky, quick throw, it's Shi Smith, 75 yards the first time. He gets 1 this time. Kind of a big deal, brought to you by Old Trapper. Brian Edwards can become the career leader in receptions for South Carolina today. Jauan Jennings is having an all-world senior season. 3rd and 4 for Carolina.
A down where South Carolina has struggled mightily this season.
And struggling again as no flag comes in. Shi Smith, the intended target. Nigel Warrior right there with him.
13th in the conference is South Carolina. 34% conversions on their 3rd down attempts coming into this game. The question marks for Hilinski has been his accuracy. Incredibly accurate in his opening 2 starts. Charleston Southern, Alabama, has been a little bit off target.
He's been on target all year. Joseph Charlton, the 2nd best in the country. And Callaway calls for a fair catch at the 34. It's a 41-yard punt. Say good afternoon to Alyssa Lang.
Guys, looking at this matchup, these two teams have played each each other pretty close over the last couple of years, but one matchup in particular I'm going to keep my eye on is Tennessee's offensive line against South Carolina's defensive line. Head coach Jeremy Pruitt said last week against Alabama, it was his O-line who really was the one setting the tone of that game. They'll have their hands full this week with Javon Kinlaw, who's been getting in the face of quarterbacks all season, helping that secondary get a couple more picks over the last couple of weeks. It's going to be a battle in the trenches today, guys.
Yes, it will, Alyssa. And you talk to coaches around this conference, they think Javon Kinlaw is one of the best defensive tackles in the game. And as the handoff goes to Chandler right at the middle of that South Carolina front for a couple. What makes Kinlaw so special?
Well, he's such a good long lever player. So he's got length at 6'6", but it's his ability to knock the offensive line back. And when you're playing a zone blocking team like Tennessee, the difficulty is he can force those two linemen that are trying to work together to have to work on different levels. It's hard to combination block a defensive lineman that's getting penetration at the point of attack.
Nobody in the backfield for Trout. 2nd and 8, quick throw, and it is caught. That's just a minimal gain for Tyler Bird, just his 4th catch of the season. Jamie Robinson with the quick tackle. Kinlaw, his pressure of the quarterback has led to 3 of the last 4 interceptions for the Gamecocks. He dropped those 45 pounds in the last couple of years by no longer eating Chinese food and pizza. That's willpower.
He wouldn't give up the Bojangles, he told us, so that's
Chicken Supreme boxes, that's right.
Be specific.
3rd and 3 with Tim Jordan on the field next to JT Shrout. Shrout, first down throw to Jennings into South Carolina territory.
Well, that time, Jawan Jennings matched up across from Israel Mukuamu. They're in man coverage, not something South Carolina spends a lot of time in, but they're in a perfect play for that. The mesh route, 2 shallow crosses right there in front, and it's just enough to rub off Mukuamu, allow Jennings room to make that reception for Shrout.
Going to move up the all-time receiving ladder today. Jennings will as a 12-yard reception. Snap from the South Carolina 46. True freshman Eric Gray around the edge for a few as Ernest Jones pushes him out of bounds. 2nd down. Tennessee has used Eric Gray. They've used Ty Chandler. And last week, Tim Jordan had the best game of his career against Alabama.
Jordan really did pace the rushing attack a week ago. You look at his production with the 17 carries, nearly 100 yards with 94 yards of production. But Tennessee's done a good job from a personnel standpoint, keeping South Carolina on their toes.
2nd and 6, Chandler. Look at that big hole. Inside the 35, first down balls.
Well, that time, Tennessee captures the edge right now. And Daniel Fennell ends up sinking inside. So they end up capturing the edge. See it right now where Fennell's inside. They over-pursue JT Ivey too far outside. And you end up getting gapped right there in the C gap, outside of the tackle and tight end.
Chandler again, inside the 30. Will Muschamp says Chandler and Jordan are violent downhill runners.
They're physical guys. You know, Chandler's got a little bit more wiggle to him than Tim Jordan, and maybe the capability of running away, pursuing tacklers. Jordan a bit more of a bruiser. Tough running back, kind of hid behind his pads last week versus Alabama. But right now, that Tennessee offensive front starting to assert itself.
Chandler out, Jordan in with the football, moving laterally and dragged down by R.J. Roderick.
Well, a couple weeks ago, Will Muschamp, Travaris Robinson, defensive coordinator of South Carolina, both defensive backs, former defensive backs in this league, as you see true freshman Darnell Wright, starting right tackle, hobble off. Marcus Tatum will come in to spell him. And that was after the first negative play for Tennessee. That's something offensively that they've done a much better job of this year, was eliminating those negative yardage plays and tackles for loss.
11 plays for Tennessee, 8 runs. Figured this would be a pass here on 3rd and 6. Shrout facing all kinds of pressure, has to get rid of it. And he is inside the tackle box there. as DJ Wanham was all over him. TJ Brunson back there too. It's 4th and 6.
There's Wanham and Brunson, as you mentioned, and you see a little bit of confusion at left tackle. Wanya Morris just allowing Brunson a free run on the inside. Something that you always have to be cognizant of. You have to protect inside out. That's the shortest route to the quarterback. Ended up affecting that play.
Brent Zamaglia from 46 yards. And this is good. And he now has the best field goal percentage in UT history at 78%. The junior from Nashville, Tennessee, puts the balls on the board and is fired up.
Guys, on the sideline moments ago, head coach Jeremy Pruitt coming over to his young quarterback, JT Shrout, unhappy with the way he looked on that last offensive drive. At the same time, Jarrett Garantano warming up with quarterback Brian Maurer on the sidelines. We know we'll see Garantano at some point, and Coach Pruitt told us earlier in the week that he had a feeling it would be early. We'll see who comes out next for Tennessee.
Well, you can see they haven't given Shrout a ton of opportunities, but you have to think that Garantano, who outside of what was a vexing decision on the goal line, played relatively well in relief of Brian Maurer last week versus Alabama.
The weight on the Vols on offense, while the Gamecocks have the football. There's their play distribution this year. Third downs has been a bugaboo.
That's the difficulty. And when we start talking about accuracy at quarterback, it's where it shows up. And Ryan Olinsky got banged up, left the game versus Georgia. He was dealing with some tendonitis earlier in the year versus Missouri. They're saying that he is more healthy, not fully healthy. You see the brace that's on his left leg.
All kinds of confusion with that snap.
False start, offense, number 54, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And South Carolina was trying to run an alternate formation. It's really just the core, center and 2 guards. Right there in the middle, and you see this, so you've got your center and 2 guards right here. Your tackles have split out, so they're outside, and you've got just the 3 there in the middle.
More of a traditional look here on a 1st and 15 as Helinski has Mon Denson in the backfield. Big tailback gets a yard. That's it, Nigel Warrior.
Looks like Mon Denson is injured. Obviously, he's getting more touches because of an injury to Rico Dowdle. It looks like he hurt his right shoulder.
Mon had several hamstring issues last season. He's carried the football for over 200 yards, and with Dowdle and Denson both out, they'll rely on Tavian Feaster. Timeout. Denson going off the field at a touchdown run on the first drive versus Florida last week. Senior has 6 career rushing touchdowns. And with Rico Dowdle's knee injury, they'll have to rely on Tavian Feaster. Meanwhile, Tennessee's right tackle, the true freshman Darnell Wright, bothered by a leg injury just 1 possession ago. And Shi Smith, who caught that 75-yard touchdown, was bothered by his ankle on that last play. To Feaster, ball tipped in the air looking for Edwards. It's 3rd down.
The ball was behind Brian Edwards. They're allowed, otherwise, if you get that ball out in front, Edwards does perhaps what Shi Smith did. If you're able to lead it out there, lay it out there in front of him, and allow your receiver to run into it. Instead, it was behind him and easily defended.
South Carolina is 113th in the country on 3rd down conversions. Incomplete to Edwards right near the sticks with Theo Jackson in coverage.
You start out with an empty backfield. Then you motion in a tight end and a back to go max protection. and had an opportunity to convert. That ball was low. Brian Edwards, though, had a chance to come up with what would have been a conversion, and instead they'll rely on Charlton again to regain some field position.
Charlton has the best average in school history, 40 yards his first time. As Callaway run away from it, it takes a South Carolina bounce all the way down to the 22-yard line. That is a 57-yard punt. Callaway taking responsibility for that, saying, my fault. Meanwhile, number 1, it watches number 2, Jared Garantano, the junior from Lodi, New Jersey, onto the field, trying to make amends for what went wrong at the goal line last week in Tuscaloosa.
Last week, less than 50%. But there's been so much rotation at quarterback already in this game. They have easily just snuck into the lineup.
Chandler gets the handoff for a couple. It's second down and 8. Tano needs 273 yards passing to pass Heath Schuler today for 10th in school history. It's the lowest interception rate of anyone that's ever worn the orange too, with just 9 in over 500 attempts. But Vol fans want to see him utilize the plays that are called by Jim Chaney today.
That's been the challenge throughout this season, executing within the offense.
Second and 8, first attempt for Garantano, and it's a first down completion. As Josh Palmer made the catch. Here's what happened at the goal line last week.
They could see Alabama, and they hurried up to the line, and it wasn't a QB sneak that was called. They were calling a 97, G. Lee, trying to get Trey Smith to pull and kick out. You had a lead blocker up into the hole. It's a walk, but you ran hurry up, and you improvised a QB sneak, end up costing you 7 and giving your opponent going the other way.
Chandler's going to lose yardage, met in the backfield by T.J. Brunson.
Well, T.J. Brunson didn't start the season very well. In fact, he was kind of slow, really, but watch him shoot this gap. He diagnoses, he gets downhill right now. Brandon Kennedy couldn't wheel fast enough, kind of backdoored it as opposed to playing over top. Had a nice cut block on the backside, but well played by Brunson.
Will Muschamp's first ever recruit 4 years ago, heart and soul of that defense. Garantano in trouble, has to throw it away. Pressure at that time by Daniel Fennell.
That time Fennell did a great job getting upfield quickly, as did Kobe Smith. You've seen a couple of times in this game, South Carolina able to get pressure when Tennessee's trying to set up a play-action pass. You've got these guys up front, and it's a fine line. As an offensive lineman, you want to sell the run, yes, but you also have to provide that protection. Your quarterback's back is to the line of scrimmage. Twice now, the ball quarterbacks incapable of getting their heads around cleanly.
11, handoff to Chandler. That's a first down run. Catching the Gamecocks by surprise on a 13-yard draw.
They got South Carolina in a light box, only 5 defenders, tackle to tackle. Well, you got 5 blockers in your offensive linemen. They did a great job. Chandler is clean through that hole, and it was immense.
5-yard average for the junior from Nashville. Led the team in rushing last year and is in the lead this year. Nothing open, safety valve incomplete to Tim Jordan with a flag down.
I think they're going to get a hold. Marcus Tatum in there for Darnell Wright. We talked to this coaching staff. We said, how good is South Carolina up front? We talked to the Tennessee coaches, and they said, we think they're better than what we saw last week at Alabama.
Holding offense number 68, 10-yard penalty, first down.
At that time, Tennessee, they're trying to load up and throw the football downfield. Instead, Garantano hung on to it a little bit, You see Tatum right here and Sterling. When you hold on to the football a little bit, see the ride. Tatum's trying to run the arc. Then he realizes, hey, he's still got the football. That last little bit of tug on Aaron Sterling is what threw the flag.
This one to Jordan, Brunson, Wanham, an entire front right there to greet him. It'll be second down. What specifically do you see that makes the Gamecocks potentially better than the Crimson Tide up front?
Well, it starts with just the personnel, right? You look at the Crimson Tide, take nothing away from their outside linebackers, but when you look at what Javon Kinlaw can mean to a pass rush, to a defensive front, the fact that he can push that pocket inside out, literally collapsing it inside out, but also win a one-on-one, that's what changes it. You got Dennis Wanham outside, Aaron Sterling, we've already seen Fennell as well. They can bend the edges from the outside.
Tano on 2nd and 18 finds a receiver streaking. That's Cedric Tillman, and that's a first down to the redshirt freshman from Las Vegas.
How about this strike from Jarrett Garantano? Stab it in there to Cedric Tillman, wide open. Mukuamu well off in coverage. He knows where he's going right now. Deliver it. Put it on his front side numbers and let him run through this pass. We saw Shi Smith take it to the house for South Carolina. That time Cedric Tillman able to convert a 3rd and long. As you see, it looks like Austin Pope shaken up a bit after that play.
Junior from Knoxville, from Christian Academy. Local product on the field. Timeout.
Really second, teaser.
Dari, I know you're licking your wounds over what happened to your alma mater in the Little Apple today. That's the shocker in college football. Stench K-State beating Boomer Sooner.
Chris Kleinman coming from North Dakota State, bringing his winning ways to Manhattan.
Eric Gray and Sherrod Green greets him for another loss. Look at the undefeated teams now in college football. The list is down to 9, including the Appalachian State Mountaineers, who are playing the Gamecocks in a couple of weeks.
That's right. And obviously Alabama and LSU. After this week, we'll have an open date to prepare for their matchup. LSU taking on the Tigers right now. See Alabama tangling with the Arkansas Razorbacks this Saturday.
Backup quarterback Mac Jones starting in that game. Tim Jordan on 2nd and 10. And how about the Gamecocks meeting the Tennessee defenders time and time again at the line? It's Fennell again.
Tom ran a little bit of a line stunt. Delayed draw, delayed handoff in the Tennessee backfield. Especially when those draw actions, when you get some movement, especially from the defensive lineman, it can cause confusion. Now the 3rd tackle for loss by this South Carolina defense.
Does Jim Chaney draw up for Jarrett Garantano on a 3rd and 11? Finds a time and a perfect pass to Jennings. Great blocking in front and Jennings fighting inside the 20. Good crowd here in Neyland Stadium cheering on Jarrett Garantano for delivering a 26-yard pass to Jennings.
Back-to-back completions from Garantano downfield. Stretching the South Carolina defense. We talk about the big plays that the Gamecocks gave up to Florida a week ago, and Jawan Jennings, he is lethal with that football in his hands after the catch.
In the red zone, it's now Chandler hitting the hole near the 10.
Jennings, when you watch him, it's not like he's incredibly fast, but they got the matchup that they wanted. Matched up with JT eBay, a safety. But then once he makes those catches, and he just kind of snatches the ball out of the air, he turns into a runner. And he is so physical after the catch.
Chandler can't get the edge. Nice open field tackle by Israel Mukuamu. Not just known for his interceptions.
That's right. And you see him, he gets up. Looks like maybe he injured his right hip a little bit. Now he leaves the field.
Into the first quarter. On the first offensive play, Ryan Helinski found Shi Smith for a 75-yard touchdown. Vols are on the doorstep trying to take the lead.
Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Go State.
Go State. State.
State? His first words. You are my son.
State.
State States?
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
We start the second quarter. It's 3rd and 1 for the Vols at the South Carolina 9. Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator, drew up a great play for Garantano last week. What does he call this time on this 3rd and 1 to move the chains?
On the goal line, and they had a couple of conversions actually in the field with QB sneaks, but in a different formation than the intended play on the goal line play.
He calls a sneak for Garantano. And right at the sticks, it looks like it's good enough to move the chains.
Tennessee had a ton of success with this last week. There wasn't the call play on the goal line, but in the field, short yardage, they ran QB sneak with effectiveness. That time running behind big Jerome Carvin at right guard. And that Tennessee front guard to guard got plenty of push.
14th play of the drive for Garantano and the Vols, snapping this one from just inside the 8. Wants to throw, one-on-one and too high for Jennings with Mukwamu right there. Let's go down to Alyssa.
Yeah, guys, you saw Mukwamu a couple of minutes ago hobbling off the field. He got addressed by trainers. They looked at him. He came back out limping still, but was jogging around on the field. And as you can see, he looks okay out there now.
I love the idea, Alyssa, of going right after him, though. Come off the field, you convert the 3rd and short, and then as soon as you can, test it out. Let's see. Let's throw a ball to our best receiver in the end zone. Didn't like the pass. Love the idea.
Toss to Jordan. Cuts it back inside, and he's inside the 3, where it'll be 3rd and goal.
Well, there were some collisions on that run. This is something that Tennessee is adding. Now watch Jameer Johnson. Wow, I don't know how that isn't holding, by the way. Jameer Johnson basically tackles Jamie Robinson.
And Jamie has to come off the field because his helmet came off. 3rd and goal. Vols at the 1. Jordan is stopped. R.J. Roderick put a hat on him. 4th down.
They're trying the left side that time.
We have an injury on the field. Roderick's helmet came off, so he's going to have to come out of the game. And that's Wanye Morris, the true freshman right tackle. Darnell Wright was hurt earlier. This is the true freshman left tackle.
Wanye Morris was in there at right tackle. It's why Jameer Johnson was at left tackle. It's been musical meatheads for Tennessee offensive line. Just different guys rotating in and out of there. Marcus Tatum's already been in there for Darnell Wright. Put Wanye Morris in there at right tackle. And now as he is down, and soon it's going to be the charge of the Light Brigade for Tennessee up front. So here's Morris right here. Now, he started the game at left tackle. Watch number 64. Gets his hat across pretty good, but it looks like he went down early. I don't know if he injured himself. It looked like at first contact. He went almost to the ground, almost immediately.
Visited with our broadcast team yesterday. Just a joy to be around a guy that's wise beyond his years.
Well, he's been forced into action. This is not an easy conference to play as a true freshman. Looks like it's that right arm.
And if you didn't like him already, our appreciation for him went to a new level when he told us that his favorite restaurant is the Waffle House.
That's right. And so was it sausage, scrambled cheese egg, hash brown bowl or something. That was one of many orders I think he made. You could see the frustration of the young man as he leaves the field.
Are you kicking or are you going? You see Tennessee struggling on 4th down. They're the worst in the country.
It looks like they're set up. Last time we just talked about it. What they ended up doing was they tried to run a G lead. That means that you would pull your guard towards the edge. It was Trey Smith that would have been the lead blocker. We've already seen Tennessee convert on a QB sneak, but that is a full yard to go. They got an extra offensive lineman to this side of the formation.
Fake to Jordan, wants to throw, nothing home. Garantano, incomplete. Turnover on downs after a 17-play drive.
See, Will Muschamp is fired up, and so is Jeremy Pruitt. You can see Garantano, you load up, you come into an unbalanced front. See T.J. Brunson in coverage of Damian Woods-Anderson. And you can see Jeremy Pruitt over and over again, holding. He has been all in the official's ear already earlier in the first quarter, saying, look, man, you got to tell me what's going to be called and what isn't. That's what he's pointing out yet again. Garantano looks up. He had nowhere to go with the football on 4th down. Ends up throwing it out of the back of the end zone. So here's Woods-Anderson right here, tight end for Tennessee. He releases. T.J. Brunson spun him around nearly coming off the line.
Turnover on down, 17 plays, no points.
Guys, quick update on Wanya Morris. Just saw him walk off of the field and into the locker room.
Gamecocks from their own one with the balls roaring at him right behind, and Feaster gives him a little bit of breathing room as he plows forward to the 3. South Carolina has barely had the football. They scored on a 75-yard touchdown on the first play, and look at Tennessee dominating all the stats that matter except the one on the scoreboard, 7-3 on top. Catch made there by Nick Muse, and Warriors been all over the field. 3rd down.
How about number 18 for Tennessee in this game? We've seen him a couple of times come streaking up from his safety position to make a play. That time, South Carolina lucky that they gained any yards. In fact, it was along the line of scrimmage, and now a 3rd and long for the Gamecocks off of their own goal line. You had an empty red zone possession if you're Tennessee. This is a huge opportunity to capture excellent field position.
Feaster. 1st down near the 15. A pickup for 12 for the senior from Spartanburg, South Carolina, who went off against the Gators last week.
Well, look at what they've got here. Where's your second-level defenders right here? No one. They're spread out. You got one back in the backfield, 4 wide receivers. And Feaster does an excellent job with that draw play.
An inside carry to Tavian as Daniel Batuli greets him after a gain of maybe 2. Consider the fact that there aren't many players in the history of college football that have transferred from one rival to the other. Feaster, who scored 19 touchdowns and ran for over 1,700 yards and won 2 national championships for Clemson, comes over to the rival Gamecocks, and he's become their featured tailback.
You saw that production last week, 25 carries, 175 yards on the ground versus a really good Gator defense.
Von Denson back in the game after getting banged up a couple of drives ago. On a minimal gain, it's 3rd down.
So far, Tennessee has done an excellent job of bottling up the Gamecock rushing attack. You see a lot of pulling guards. They'll pull their center at times. And the idea is to get some extra blockers at the point of attack versus Jeremy Pruitt's defense. So far, Henry Toho and Daniel Batuli have done an excellent job of bottling up the Gamecock rushers.
No draw here. Instead, it's a sack. Collapsing on the quarterback in the backfield. Darrell Taylor. discussed some of the calls that these programs haven't liked in the last week. Taylor got a personal foul against Alabama that extended a drive. He gets the sack here as Charlton punts from his own end zone. It's a beauty and sends Callaway back to his own 36. He's got 2 career punt returns for touchdowns. Make it 3. "65 yards.
So you get denied the end zone on your red zone possession on 4th down. Then your defense comes out, stones your opponent's offense, forces them to try to get a punt away, try to pick up field position, and one of the best punt return men, if you give him a shot at it, Callaway can hurt you. That was basically the touchdown the Vols didn't get on offense on their previous possession.
10-7 Tennessee. You get the sack on 3rd down from Darrell Taylor. And then Joe Charlton out-kicks his coverage, and Callaway makes him pay. Marquez Callaway with a 65-yard touchdown, his 3rd career punt return into the checkerboards. Did it against Tennessee Tech 3 years ago, Charlotte last year, and now against the Gamecocks. And this goes over Ortre Smith's head, and the Gamecocks get it at the 25.
Well, we talked about how South Carolina was backed up. Joe Charlton hammers this punt. The problem is he outkicked his coverage. And watch Warren Burrell right here. He plays it very smart. First of all, there's no other Gamecocks in the screen. But see, Burrell puts those hands up. You don't want to get a block in the back. Look at Callaway just turn on the Jets. Splits the punt coverage team of the Gamecocks. They were spread out, trying to run down that punt. Marquez Callaway hammers it into the end zone.
Ryan Hilinski gets to work. A throw to Nick Muse, who gets about 8. Transfer from William & Mary, makes it 2nd and short.
Obviously, it goes without saying, South Carolina got to get going offensively. 1 of 4 on 3rd downs. We've seen some inaccurate throws from Hilinski on 3rd.
Feaster, 1st down run. Up near the 39. More college football tonight on the SEC Network at 7:30 Eastern. Our SEC Saturday night matchup has Mizzou traveling to Lexington to face Kentucky. We did this game last year. Mizzou dominated it until the 2nd half when they didn't get a 1st down, and Kentucky came storming back. Meanwhile, Kyle Markway can't make the catch. It's 2nd down for Will Muschamp. 75 yards on his first play, just 28 cents.
And part of it is this. Look, that was not the best pass from Hilinski. He's got to get some help from his receivers. A couple of drops, one by Brian Edwards, that time by Kyle Markway.
Feaster on all these delay handoffs, making Tennessee pay into Tennessee territory.
That time, they pull the backside guard and tackle. Javon Gwynn, you see him coming around, Jalen Nichols. And they just escort Feaster, who does a great job setting up those blocks.
Feaster right at him to the 45-yard line. Offensive coordinator Brian McClendon using his featured tailback primarily on these draw plays. With Rico Dowdle out of the game. He had a knee injury versus Florida on his first carry. He'll be out a few weeks. Lamont Denson is back in the game after being banged up a couple of series ago.
You see, this is what they needed to get going, of course. Get that ground game established. Start chewing up some yards with their rushing attack.
Here is Denson following his offensive lineman for a few. Daniel Batuli on the tackle. How about the fact that Batuli and Henry To'oTo'o both on the field for the same time, both had targeting penalties in the last 2 games and never played at the same time.
You talk about a true freshman and your leading tackle the past couple of seasons. They needed those guys both in this lineup. Batuli already with 6 tackles in this game. He did a great job defeating the block of Donnell Stanley to make that last point.
3rd and 4, it's Denson, no way. Greeted immediately by Sean Schamberger.
That time they brought second level pressure. Schamberger knifing into the offensive backfield. Nothing doing for South Carolina. Could never get this run play going. Look at Denson. He's hit right now. Doesn't even make it to the line of scrimmage. Schamberger, almost like he lined up in the offensive backfield. He was back there so quickly.
So Charlton will try to pin the balls deep and not give Callaway any chance of this. Charlton does his job as it is marked down at the 7-yard line. Tennessee on top of the Gamecocks in a game certain to go to the wire. This series dates back to 1903. Each of the past 7 have been decided by 6 or fewer. The Vols own the all-time series with a 16-3 advantage in Knoxville, 25-10 overall. South Carolina's won 3 in a row and 7 of the last 11 in the series, though. And Will Muschamp has never lost to Tennessee as the head coach at Florida or South Carolina. Now remember, last year the Vols led 21-9 in the 4th quarter. The Gamecocks came back and won it. Jared Garantano had a 17-play drive that ended at the 1-yard line. The last time he touched the football, hands to Ty Chandler, and Chandler dives ahead for a yard, down to Alyssa.
Yeah, guys, as far as the Tennessee offensive line, I'm being told right tackle Darnell Wright is dealing with a left leg injury. He's doubtful to return. Wanye Morris dealing with an upper body, but he's probable to come back.
And as you were speaking there, Alyssa, Ernest Jones had his helmet come off, and he will go out of the game on this play. Actually, it looks like he's got an injury there. He's already with 7 tackles in this game, the sophomore from Waycross, Georgia. We'll check on Ernest. Let's go back to the studio in Dari.
Yeah, TZ, how about Auburn battling back against LSU? They'd had a hard time generating much offense. 3rd and goal from the 1. The pitch is stopped about an inch or 2 from the goal line, and Gus Malzahn says let's go for it on 4th down against what has been a very stingy LSU defense. Bo Nix, the keeper, gets a little push from behind, and he's into the end zone. And Auburn now has the lead, 9-7, pending an extra point in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, Dari, we saw them blow out Arkansas 51-10 last week, and Stench, we left Fayetteville thinking LSU's going to see the best defense they've seen all season.
No, I think that'll be the case, and they match up really well versus that quick passing attack for LSU because of Auburn's ability to win at defensive tackle.
I just told you about the subs. Jameer Johnson, he moved too early.
False start. Offense, number 58. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
It happened quite a bit last week, albeit on the road versus Alabama. Here at home, offense is at work. It's quiet. Jameer Johnson, who's been out of the lineup. They said the good news has been he was able to put on some weight while he was spelled. But that time, an early start and digging a hole for his offense in this possession.
Snapping this one from near the 4. Garantano from his own end zone, incomplete. Throwing it into the UT bench with Palmer, the nearest receiver. And there's a flag down. Holding call is the initial, or face mask, excuse me, is the initial call by referee Steve Marlowe.
Yes, it's on Jameer Johnson, back-to-back. And so watch him right here.
Personal foul.
He's got
face mask. Offense, number
both
58.
hands.
That
Look at that.
penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Both hands up in the face mask of Aaron Sterling. If you're going to get a face mask penalty, get your money's worth. He definitely did. All 4 penalties on Tennessee in this game, other than have been on the offensive line.
On a 3rd and 14, Ty Chandler able to get the edge, and he's shoved out by Sherrod Green near the 9. It's 4th down.
Sherrod Green is a guy that South Carolina coaches singled out. A guy that they want to keep him in the lineup if they can. 3 linebackers on the field. He's got range. He's able to flex out, cover tight ends in the slot if need be, and that time showing his speed to the sideline. And now South Carolina with the opportunity to capture excellent field position. Tennessee took one to the house when South Carolina had to kick from a similar spot on the field.
Paxton Brooks from his own end zone. Low punt. Josh Van make that Brian Edwards at midfield, getting the edge and inside the 45. And the Gamecocks have outstanding field position trying to regain the lead. All right, looking forward to that. Coming up in a few minutes. Meanwhile, Ryan Helinski has been handing off a bunch to Tavian Feaster. He's 4 for 8 passing for 83 yards, and he's not been able to deliver a pass to Brian Edwards yet. Middle of the field incomplete to Muse, covered up by Daniel Batuli.
And coming into this game, you can see that Ryan Helinski has really struggled on the downfield throws. Last week, they kept shooting shots with impunity, like they just didn't care. They're just going to keep firing away. 21% on those downfield throws.
And there it is to Edwards, his first catch of the game as he goes inside the 40-yard line. He's caught a pass in all 46 games he's played in his illustrious 4-year career. And he's 4 catches shy now of passing Kenny McKinley for the most catches in Gamecock history.
Shi Smith up here.
Looking that way, and it's inside the 35, and it is a first down.
We talked about his prominence in their passing game, Shi Smith. And if you're Ryan Helinski, obviously wanting to get the ball to him, Shi Smith talked about it this week, about the confidence they have in their quarterback, the confidence that they have to have. You know, Ryan Helinski has to be the answer in this passing attack that really has to get rolling. Obviously, Shi Smith opening it up in this game, taking the first play to the house, 4 targets in this one, and a big conversion on that 3rd down.
First and 10. Dangerous pass to Smith that was thrown a little bit behind him with Schamberger in coverage. Wednesday at 7 Eastern, Marty and McGee talk about Southern culture and football like nobody else can. Marty and McGee on the SEC Network and also on the ESPN app. You think McGee's wearing head-to-toe orange at the moment watching this? Helinski to Markway, and Kyle streaks down the sideline for a first down as McCullough pushes him out. It's a 16-yard pickup for the redshirt junior in his 5th season. He only had 6 catches in his career before this year, and he has 17 in 2019. Going quickly, Helinski has to throw it in the ground, and there comes the flag. And you see Daryl Middleton put his head down immediately.
He's trying to get it to Markway again.
Personal foul, roughing the passer with targeting, 97 defense. The previous play is under further review.
You see Neyland Stadium and the Tennessee head coach letting the officiating crew hear about it. Now look, this is a team last week that saw its starting quarterback get knocked out of the game. Took a couple of vicious shots from Alabama defenders. It's definitely high. You see it right there. Middleton came in there.
Our ESPN rules analyst Matt Austin is reviewing this with us. Matt, what did you see?
Yeah, Taylor, I mean, the defensive player comes in, he definitely lowers his head, puts the crown of the helmet right into the quarterback's head. Quarterback is defenseless. It's crown of the helmet. I think this is a confirm.
It looked like at first glance, and then certainly through the replay process. And it has been confirmed on the field. It looked like it had several indicators, Stinch.
There's no doubt. You know, and Matt just broke him down, of course, where you're seeing it. He lowers his head. There's a launch, attack, forcible contact. You're checking all the boxes. You can tell that obviously highly sensitive subject because you're talking about.
Here comes another one right here.
Flag.
Yep.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct from Tennessee head coach, his first of the game, had the distance to the goal, first down.
So Middleton will have to miss the rest of the game, and Jeremy Pruitt's real close to joining him. Extremely frustrated by the way the Alabama game was called last week, and that has boiled over into this week.
He was displeased with how South Carolina had defended some of these pass routes earlier. That time, he shouldn't be upset. That was a legit targeting call. The officials got it right. It was reviewed. It was confirmed.
And he did say after the Alabama game, when reviewing the film, that there were several calls the officials got right. I think he'll say the same thing after watching that one.
In this instance, I think he will definitely agree. You got to make sure if you're Tennessee to find a way to regain your composure. You know, this opponent in South Carolina was gifted excellent field position. They're capitalizing. You still have an opportunity to get a stop here.
First and goal inside the 5. Feaster. Nothing. Daniel Batuli. Some jawing with Alante Taylor and Chavis Dawkins.
Daniel Batuli, he showed up. He put his work pants on today. And he's been excellent in pass coverage as well, as you see South Carolina jumping the ball.
Feaster again, near the 1. Nigel Warrior left him out of the end zone. Batuli in there too. It's 3rd and goal.
Batuli was the one that ended up finishing off Feaster with another inside zone look.
3rd straight time Feaster. No signal yet. Touchdown.
Well, he was met in the hole by, once again, Daniel Batuli. Unblocked at the line of scrimmage, and Feaster goes low. They will undoubtedly take a look at this play again. Watch Feaster go low. Does that ball cross the line of scrimmage before his right knee is down? It looks to me like the ball is in his left arm. He looks like he's down. The ball's in his left hand, right here. You see his right elbow is down? It looks to me like he was short of that goal line.
And right knee down right there.
Here's the ball.
And there's the ball.
I think he is clearly short of the goal line right there.
Doug Linebarger, our replay official, see if he believes that's irrefutable evidence to overturn the call. Let's see what Matt Austin has to say, our ESPN rules analyst. Hey, Matt.
Yeah, Taylor, I agree with you and Matt. It does look like the knee hits the ground. Looks like the ball is short of the goal line. This is going to be a tough one, though. The ruling on the field is a touchdown, and is that enough evidence to overturn? If it's not, then the call is going to stand.
I know that you had the headset on for years up to the press box going through that process. Let's see what Steve Marlowe has to announce.
After further review, the ball carrier was down at the half-yard line. 4th down.
That's a good job. You know, look, and we're talking about a couple of very important calls that involve not only the replay officials, but the officials on the field. The replay officials doing a good job that time, overturning what was ruled a touchdown on the field. And now South Carolina's going to take another crack. And remember, Tennessee was stopped on a 4th and goal play.
And a whistle on the field, and the timeout will be called.
Timeout, Tennessee, the first of the half. 30-second timeout.
How about how physical this football game has been so far? Old school smash mouth.
Pads popping, helmets popping off a couple of times. We got guys getting helped off the field, back and forth. I mean, you never want to see anybody injured, but there's no doubt in this game, both these teams know what's at stake.
You've known Brian McClendon a long time. What does he call on 4th and goal from the 1?
Well, they've done an excellent job, I think, especially in the field plays where they pull guards and they gain an extra blocker at the point of attack. You can create a double team if you do that. The question is, are you willing to risk that? Whenever you start pulling linemen across the ball, are you willing to try to do something like that? They had ball handling issues last week where they tried to run a toss to Tavian Feaster. The ball ended up on the ground. They ran the same play again. It was a G lead scheme, similar to Tennessee, and this time it looks like they're going to line up in the pistol.
All kinds of confusion.
Yeah, you see Jeremy Pruitt ran down there. South Carolina is under center in a power I formation.
Timeout, Tennessee, their second of the half. 30-second timeout.
Came out with Nick Muse, who's been blocking in front of the tailback, which has been Feaster. It was Mon Denson before Pruitt calls timeout.
So you see, you get a late substitution, trying to get Jaquane Blakely in there as an extra D lineman. You got guys running off. But you see South Carolina, they're looking over there to the sideline as well. Jeremy Pruitt, he's trying to coach his defense. At the same time, he realized it's too late. Can't risk it. This is an important snap. Burns a timeout. But you can see South Carolina, they're going to be under center, I formation, Nick Muse as a potential lead blocker to try to slam that football up in there. But as I mentioned last week, they're under center. Ryan Olinsky takes a snap, turns around, tries to toss it to Tavian Feaster. Bad exchange. That ball ended up on the ground.
Muse and Denson still in there, with Denson next to Olinsky. Handoff to Mon. Touchdown Gamecocks. Tennessee celebrated as if they had kept Denson out of the end zone, but the call is touchdown.
The ball's in his left hand. Does it break it right there? Where's the ball?
Denson ran into it for a touchdown.
He had that ball in his left arm. I gotta tell you, it's Henry To'oTo'o right there.
Remember, the entire goal line is the end zone. So the plane of the goal line means the vertical plane of the front edge, as they'll look at this one more time.
Both of those runs. Running back's got the ball in his left arm. Watch To'oTo'o come back. Batuli, they both meet him right at the goal line. But can you see where this ball, the ball's definitely in his left arm. Does it break the front edge of the plane? I think it barely does. It looks to me like To'oTo'o, what he ends up grabbing is like the front arm, or the front, almost like the fist of his arm.
After the review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
So stands, not confirmed. So you're talking about, and what replay is saying is that we didn't see enough to say it wasn't. So the ruling on the field was a touchdown. And I will say, even the looks that we had, it's really difficult to see where is that football, and did it break that plane? On the field it was ruled that it was.
In total, it's 9 plays, 44 yards, culminating with a 1-yard Mon Denson touchdown, and Parker White makes it 14-10. The drive featured a Daryl Middleton targeting foul that led to an ejection and to a Jeremy Pruitt unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
So they ended up pulling the guard. You see this all the way across. The question was, did the two linebackers of Tennessee deny the goal line? And I got to tell you, that last look, I think that he did actually get in. Now, is it indisputable? The thing of it is, it was ruled a touchdown on the field. It has to be indisputable to overturn it.
So Mondenson, who was banged up a little earlier in the game, gets the handshake from Will Muschamp on his 7th career rushing touchdown. Had one last week against the Gators, and now this week against the Volunteers.
Well, so we've seen a little bit of everything. But no doubt, field position playing a critical role in this football game. South Carolina getting the ball on the plus side of the field because of their ability to keep Tennessee in the shadows of their own goalposts. That has led to the last couple of sets of score.
Vols get it at the 25-yard line.
Academy Sports and Outdoors is making it even easier on you with in-store pickup. It's all new and basically means you go to academy.com, order whatever you need, and come get it in store. Get in, get out, get back to having fun with your family.
So great to see our great friend Reese Rutledge's mom.
Yeah, that's right.
Laura Rutledge on SEC Nation today down in the Bayou. Jarrett Garantano is 3 of 7 passing for 55 yards. JT Strout did start the game, and Juwan Jennings took the first snap. Garantano loads up. Wide open is Jennings, already past midfield, and look at the extra effort.
That's another first down, Tennessee.
Vols will go quickly. As Jennings with another big-time catch, this one for 27.
Another explosive play for the Tennessee offense.
Tano has time. Jennings inside the 20, stays on his feet, will not be denied. 48 yards. Jennings catches for 75 yards, and the Vols are back on top. Hard to believe that this guy wasn't even on the football team with the old staff 2 years ago, and now the team goes through him.
Literally. The first play of the drive, they hit Juwan Jennings. Over the middle, does a great job on the post corner, comes back out. You see him, he's so difficult to bring to the ground. So that one he ultimately gets tackled. On this one, he wasn't having it. He runs right through eBay, then Ernest Jones, that's a linebacker. And by the time Bukwama had gotten to him, he was almost to the checkerboards. He's met with Marquez Callaway. Those two guys have figured prominently. And how about number 2? Quarterback gets up off the mat and is able to deliver a couple of completions to the number 1 targeted receiver in this Tennessee offense. And the Volunteers back on top in this game.
And catching an all-time great Hart back in the late 80s. Of course, went on to win Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys. One more to tie Robert Meacham. Fastest touchdown drive Tennessee has had this year, and the Gamecocks get it back with 2:34.
You know, it's interesting, we were talking with Jeremy Pruitt, how they were going to deal with the quarterback position and what transpired last week with Jarrett Garantano and the type of season that he's had. Lost his starting job, had to come in relief. But he also said, look, I brought Jauan Jennings, and I talked to him about the quarterback position. And Jennings was like, look, we need number 2. We got to get him going. And you could see that was exemplified right there on that possession. Jauan Jennings, Jarrett Garantano getting on the same page. We're getting the Tennessee offense in the end zone.
Tavian Feaster running free for a first down.
We talked about Tennessee trying to find a way to regain their composure defensively. South Carolina ultimately able to get in there. Now they got to answer defensively.
Very quickly, Shi Smith, no place to go after a minimal gain of 5 as Bryce Thompson lets him know he was right there.
Tennessee's done a good job of tackling on the perimeter. Their secondary's done a good job with open field, coming up, making tackles at the line of scrimmage.
Walensky down on the knee to get it. That's Brian Edwards. That's a catch down at the 43 of Tennessee. 17 more for the senior.
South Carolina was trying to go fast. A Tennessee player slow to get up. Looks like it might be Aubrey Solomon.
Aubrey Solomon shaken up.
He's been limited stints with shoulder and knee pain. Michigan transfer.
And South Carolina was going at warp speed. Aubrey Solomon, who's had some injury issues this season. A well underthrown ball from Walensky on that one. Edwards, as you mentioned, he looked like a catcher with a pitch in the dirt that time on his knees just to field that ball cleanly.
1:40 and clock moving. Gamecocks with all of their timeouts. Feaster back to the ground, plows ahead to the 40, where Taylor makes the tackle.
Darrell Taylor, a guy came up with that big play early on in the first half to set up the short field.
Quick pass to Edwards. Under the 37-yard line. Kenneth George tackles him with 1:18. And the clock stopped, third down.
We talk about the open field tackling, but that time fighting off a block. And Kenneth George did a great job of shedding Nick Muse to come up and make that tackle to deny the yardage to gain to convert that first.
Quick throw, Josh Vann on the slant. First down, Gamecocks in the red zone.
Tennessee brought boundary pressure, and Walensky deals it to the field side of the formation to Josh Vann. That time he threw a strike. So you can see it, he's got it in there, despite spates of inaccuracy.
Feaster going to the top of your screen with under a minute left in the first half. Walensky throws it above his head, incomplete. How about these offenses suddenly in a game we expected to be dominated by defense?
A couple of quarterbacks coming alive. So before that throwaway, Walensky 4 for 4, 44 yards on this drive, and you're right, Taylor. All of a sudden, you're seeing guys ignite. Now, it's not surprising Jauan Jennings fueled the Tennessee scoring drive. Brian Edwards now getting involved. Josh Vann, Walensky seemingly getting into a groove, especially when South Carolina started going up in a hurry-up mode.
Using this play quite a bit. It doesn't work this time as Feaster was greeted immediately by Batuli.
Now they were schooled up. Last week versus Florida, South Carolina hit 2 big draws in the red zone. That's the 10th tackle for number 35.
Under 30 seconds left on a 3rd and 11. And now Will Muschamp will call timeout.
It looked like Tennessee ended up burning that timeout. When they went empty, and Tavian Feaster, it looked like there was some confusion in the coverage. And Feaster blown out of the offensive backfield all the way to the far side of the formation, and Tennessee looked confused as to who had him.
Yeah, and Will keep all of those timeouts. He wants to make sure that he's the last team with the football in this half.
There's no doubt, and it's working out that way, although you've got to get this conversion. We've seen the third downs, and we've already mentioned it. South Carolina last week on a 3rd and 10 plus, 3rd and 11, a 3rd and 8. They went to the draw. They've already burned that look on this possession. Tennessee State at home stoned it. Now where do you go with this football? We've seen Shi Smith. We've seen Brian Edwards. We've seen Kyle Markway. Where do you go with this football in the passing game? And can your protection hold up? We saw Darrell Taylor win on the edge on an earlier possession from his defensive end position to get Ryan Hilinski on the ground. Here's Taylor right here, number 19. Probably the best pure pass rusher on this Tennessee defense.
Hilinski. Is that caught? It is! Unbelievable catch by Brian Edwards.
Sounds good late to Edwards for the Carolina touchdown.
A jaw-dropping one-hander from Brian Edwards. OBJ, eat your heart out.
He caught the middle of the football. It didn't look like he caught the point of it. It wasn't like he stops his ball, he stabs it in midair. And not only that, but to come down inbounds, albeit I think he was down shy of the goal line.
What's crazy is Will Muschamp said Edwards' first career catch against Vanderbilt 3 years ago was one of the best he's ever seen. That one ties the school record for career receptions with Kenny McKinley.
Well, he did it in style, breaking that record.
Is that hand, that left hand on the white?
Yes, it looks to me that his left hand came down out of bounds, just shy of the goal line. Look at how he catches this ball. See his hand right there, left hand, out of bounds, it looks like right there. Sorry after the push, but you see that left hand out of bounds, shy of the goal line. But an unbelievable catch. Now you've seen guys, they'll reach back and catch the point of a football and then cradle it down. It's like he stabbed the middle of that ball.
Do we have a booth cam of our eyes?
We couldn't even, I mean, I couldn't believe he caught it. I thought it bounced off his hand. That was a deflection.
Simply remarkable.
After further review, the receiver completed the catch but went out of bounds at the half-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal, South Carolina. The game clock will start on the snap.
Well, the replay booth has been busy in this end zone, right? That's 3 reviews, 2 overturns, and of course one that just stood as a touchdown, but an unbelievable effort by Brian Edwards. Kenneth George was underneath that throw.
Waiting for that clock to run. Gamecocks do have all 3 of their timeouts. Here's the toss. Feaster. Touchdown.
Feaster carries the Carolina score.
The last few minutes of this second quarter have been don't blink material. Tavian Feaster gives the officials something else to look at.
I think he's down. Look, the ball's in his left hand. There's the knee. I think Feaster is short. And I think, you know, if Feaster keeps that ball outside, he decided to stick his foot in the ground and try to get underneath the block. I think he had a step. He could have run all the way to the pylon and gotten in the end zone.
I bet you can guess who kept him out. Daniel Batuli, who's already in double digits with tackles today.
He was certainly involved on the 2 runs on the previous South Carolina possession. Look at Batuli. Boom. Knee down. Ball. Left arm. Here's the goal line. He is short. A phenomenal effort by Daniel Batuli. And I do think easy to second guess from the booth, but if Tavien Feaster, he's got the speed to keep that ball outside, just outrun those linebackers who are coming from the core of the defense. Although Batuli, my goodness, in a first and a half of football, he had over 20 tackles a couple of years ago versus Georgia Tech. That's in an option offense. 23 tackles, he's got 11 already.
After further review, the ball carrier was down at the half-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 14 seconds. South Carolina will use a timeout to avoid a 10-second runoff. So you explain to me when you get this.
So Muschamp calls that first timeout. And the Gamecocks will have a little more time to take a look at this. How many years have been taken off the life of Jeremy Pruitt and Will Muschamp in the last few weeks?
I mean, both these guys, I don't know. I think they thrive on impassioned coaching, we'll call it, right? Now you look at it, these are close games, there's no doubt. And they were competitive in both games versus highly ranked teams, Florida and Alabama, both sides of the division, right? And you can see Jeremy Pruitt, and he's over there and he's saying, look, he just said thank you, I believe, if we're reading lips. They're trying to make sure, look, the replay booth has been really engaged in this game. We've had a couple lines to gain, obviously. We had a boundary call. It's been very, very busy here towards the end of the second quarter.
Coming up at halftime, you can watch the live performance of the Pride of the Southland on SEC Network Plus. Start streaming now on the ESPN app. Terrific crowd on hand the last Saturday in October watching this thrilling first half. This is the 11th play of the drive. Tavien Feaster and Mondenson both in the backfield. Feaster is the first back standing at that 5-yard line.
Got a couple of tight ends to the left of the formation over here, Markway and Chandler Farrell.
I think he wants the clock set at 14. There it is. And it's Feaster plowing in easily. Touchdown, Carolina.
Great push, quick hitter, downhill right now. Feaster in front of Denson. Just turn around, stick it in the belly of your back, and trust the interior portion of your offensive front to win. Tennessee certainly didn't go down without a fight. Daniel Batuli, my goodness, has been menacing along the goal line, but just hasn't been quite enough the last two possessions.
15th scoring drive of 75-plus yards. That's the fourth best in the SEC. And they've had two today as Parker White makes it 21-17 Gamecocks. You having any fun yet?
Wow, that's unbelievable, man. I mean, think about it. So Juwan Jennings makes an unbelievable couple of plays, right? Muscling his way into the end zone. And we're talking about these premier receivers for both of these teams. And then Brian Edwards. I mean, how do you top what Juwan Jennings just did? I think Brian Edwards darn near did it. If he gets in the end zone, I'd say it's a topper. Regardless, all of a sudden, just this influx of scoring for both of these offenses.
Yeah, we expected a defensive slugfest today, and we're seeing it. But we're seeing more execution from the offense than maybe most expected, with some terrific playmaking from Juwan Jennings and Brian Edwards.
And a couple of quarterbacks that have been somewhat embattled. You know, there's frustration around the South Carolina passing game or lack thereof. Obviously, Jarrett Garantano and his difficulties this season. Both quarterbacks coming up big in the passing game to set up those scores.
And Will Tommy, you don't want to kick it to Callaway or Chandler, and he kicks it over their head. So Tennessee has 10 seconds at their own 25-yard line. Tavien Feaster. First, that was Mondenson that was left out of the end zone. Juwan Jennings, 2 plays, 75 yards, refusing to go down. And then Brian Edwards, taking a page from OBJ's playbook, marked out at the 1. A couple plays later, Feaster plowing ahead, and the Gamecocks are back on top. We'll see what Garantano decides to do with 10 seconds to go in the half. Why not? Here's it down the field, and Palmer incomplete.
Ran out of real estate that time. Makes that catch, and then you can take a shot at the end zone. Instead, spins him out of bounds. Now just 4 seconds to play. Jarrett Garantano didn't start this game. In fact, it was Jauan Jennings who took the first snaps at quarterback. A little razzle-dazzle, JT Shrout. A couple possessions. And then Tennessee did a great job inserting Garantano in there. So many different faces at quarterback. He almost got in there unnoticed.
Last play of what was a remarkable first half. And Garantano is tackled shy of the 40-yard line. Gamecocks have the lead as Tennessee will receive the second half kickoff. There were 5 lead changes in that half.
All kinds of adventure. You get special teams contributing. You get a goal line stand, a couple of goal line plays, big plays in the passing game. That first half was action-packed.
Jeremy Pruitt on the field with Alyssa.
Coach, how would you evaluate the way your offense has been able to play so far today?
You know, we didn't move the ball very well until the last drive. So we've got to be more aggressive calling the game, so give our guys a chance to have success.
What do you want to see from your defense in the second half?
Well, we gave up the first play, an explosive play, just clearly didn't line up correctly and didn't take 3 down the middle. So just give them 7 right off the jump there and didn't play 2 minutes before the half there.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. This team's fighting its guts out once again, trailing South Carolina 21-17. We saw one of the best catches you'll ever see from Bryan Edwards, helping the Gamecocks to a 4-point lead. Now it's the Auto Owners Insurance Halftime Report with Dari Noka. One of the more entertaining halves you'll ever see in the SEC. Gamecocks lead Tennessee 21-17 as we start the third quarter. Shi Smith, a 75-yard touchdown on the first play of the game. Bryan Edwards' career-tying catch was the catch of his life, and Jauan Jennings, he might still be breaking tackles down on that field after that last touchdown that he had. Don't blink, ladies and gentlemen. We had 3 lead changes in the last 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
And if you're Tennessee, you know, you've got to be a little bit disheartened because you couldn't have started the game off worse. You give up the 75-yarder for a touchdown, and then you don't finish the half the way you wanted to. Really, everything in between. You can look at Tennessee starting to really almost take control of this football game. But the field position played a big role in the scoring opportunities, and certainly the way the Volunteers managed the end-of-half scenario there before the end of the second quarter.
Well, if we're going to show highlights, we have to start with what has to be number 1 on SportsCenter later tonight. Bryan Edwards with this incredible acrobatic catch that ties Kenny McKinley for the most in Gamecocks history with 207. Meanwhile, Jauan Jennings had 2 catches on this drive for 75 yards and somehow made it to the checkerboards on that play. Tennessee trails 21-17. They had a 17-play drive and got to the 1 and didn't score in that half. Garantano wants to load up. Deep ball. He's got Callaway. Caught.
That ball hung up just a little bit. And I thought Israel Mukuamu was going to be able to make up ground because Callaway had more than a couple of steps. Mukuamu playing off coverage. Callaway just runs him down. Look at this on the post. See Mukuamu able to recover, but Callaway again able to come down with a contested catch. Great concentration from number 1.
48 yards. How about what was happening with Jameer Johnson throwing like an elbow band off of the field there? Another catch made. That's a good one by Josh Palmer. It's second down.
Yeah, Jameer Johnson, I think his neck roll somehow was messing with him. So see him messing with it, he can't quite get it the way he wants it. So he just says, forget it, I'm gonna rip it off. And I like the way, look, he throws it towards the South Carolina. He starts to throw it towards his sideline.
Already wearing that big contraption on his left arm.
Good distance on
I mean,
that.
try to
Yeah.
grab it and get
Impressive. 2nd and 4. Here's the toss to Chandler. It'll be 3rd down. Alyssa, what did Will Muschamp have to say about that first half?
Yeah, guys, I caught up with him about the way his defense has been playing. He said if he wants to see one thing specifically, it's stopping 15. Juwan Jennings, of course, had a couple of huge plays back in that first half. Going into halftime, Jeremy Pruitt said he wants his offensive play calling to be more aggressive, and I think we've seen that so far from Tennessee as well, guys.
Just remarkable to see the lead changes and the drama as Eric Gray checks into the game on a 3rd and 5. He's in the slot to the top of your screen. And Tano, quick throw, it's dropped. R.J. Roderick hits Tyler Bird after the drop, 4th down.
Roderick hit Bird pretty late on that one. I mean, he could have easily avoided it.
You know Tennessee fans seeing this replay will have an opinion on that.
Well, he caught him with his shoulder, but it was definitely to the head or neck area of Tyler Bird. I guess they're saying he made contact with his arm first, but that definitely looked late.
Went Samaglia from 39 to make it a 1-point game, and he pushed it to the right. Samaglia was the most accurate kicker in Tennessee history before this miss, just the 2nd of the season. Matt Austin, what do you think of R.J. Roderick's hit of Tyler Bird here?
Well, I'm not crazy about it. It's a little bit late, but it's not really that forcible of a hit. He does take a couple steps. It's, you know, it's one of those ones that either way you call it, you're going to make one of the teams really upset. So it's really a tweener. I'm fine with letting it go.
Thank you, Mr. Austin, for all of your explanations today. In this 21-17 game, Brian Edwards has more catches than any player in Gamecocks history. That is his 208th.
Well, his 207 was really exciting. A lot more exciting than that one. Not that it wasn't consequential.
Yeah, that one only gained 4 yards as we have a false start. Mock cheer from the Tennessee fans.
False start offense. Not all players were set before the snap. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
2nd penalty on South Carolina today. Tennessee has 5. Both coaches on edge in this tight football game as the Gamecocks lead at 21-17. Jeremy Pruitt, 2-5. Said those first 2 games of the season were on me. Should have beaten Georgia State, blew it against BYU, but ever since then you've seen marked improvement. Certainly against Georgia, then against Mississippi State, and last week against Alabama, as Feaster is ahead to the 25. Let's go back to the studio. Say hello to Dari.
Guys, big turn of events in Baton Rouge. LSU trailing Auburn 13-10. Got down to the 2-yard line, went for it on 4th down, and the Tigers stopped them. That's now 2 times they've been inside the Auburn 2, and they've come away with 3 total points, guys.
Wow, how about that? That is Auburn's kind of football game down in Tigerland. Here, it's 3rd and 7 for South Carolina. Helinski under pressure, down he goes. Darrell Taylor again.
Working against the freshman, Jalen Nichols. And he's going to come underneath the block. Just oversets. Feels that weight outside. They actually ended up running a game But Darrell Taylor got through so cleanly that he was able to get upfield. That's twice now where Darrell Taylor has showed up big on third downs.
False start. Offense number 10, 5-yard penalty. Fourth down.
His sacks come in bunches. He had 2 against Mississippi State 2 weeks ago, 2 more today.
Well, the entire team got into it versus Mississippi State. 7 sacks a couple of games ago. Obviously this one with the penalties really hurting South Carolina in a field position game.
Charlton in his end zone. Another good punt, Eric Gray from his own 45. And he is tackled in to Gamecocks territory. Darrell Taylor with his 16th career sack, giving the Vols the football back.
To 13-10 Auburn.
Here you see the standings, Dari, with Alabama 4-0 in conference, LSU undefeated, but Auburn still controls its own fate. They play both of those teams in front of them.
Well, they're giving the Bayou version of the Tigers all they want. Joe Burrow with an uncharacteristic turnover.
Here, Jarrett Garantano playing most of the game at quarterback, dropped by Gray. That was a forward pass, incomplete. Garantano did not start the game today. J.T. Strout did. Brian Maurer banged up again, went through the concussion protocol last week. Garantano addressed the entire team after the game on Sunday. They go through the good, the bad, and the ugly. He said, Coach Pruitt, when you get up and address the ugly, I want to address the team.
It's a sign of a leader, and we'll say that. You got to be accountable, take responsibility, and he has. He played pretty well versus Alabama, stats aside. You turn on the film, he looked good.
Load up here, and Palmer got it. "22 yards from the man from Ontario, Canada.
If this stands, and it looks like his left foot was in bounds, they're hurrying up to try to run a play. The 5th 20-plus yard play for Tennessee.
Good for them for doing it that quickly, as Jordan will get a yard. Alyssa.
You guys talked about Jarrett Garantano addressing the team last week. Well, there's no question about how his teammates feel about him after doing that either. His offensive lineman, Trey Smith, said he considers him to be a brother. They lived together freshman year, and he said it was JG who was the one that made a constant effort to check in on Trey last year when he was dealing with those blood clots in his lungs. He said a lot of people have no idea the work that Jarrett puts in behind the scenes when it comes to watching tape and getting ready for game day, guys.
Definitely has a good heart. Playing within the system so far today and finding Palmer again, and that's a first down catch. Throwing for over 200 yards in this game and a touchdown.
He's been efficient, there's no doubt. And able to hit some downfield throws, 9 of 16, 214 yards. See that touchdown on his resume as well. Protected the football relatively well. And now Tennessee driving with the connection. Couple of completions now to Josh Palmer.
One-on-one, falling down is Palmer, no flag.
We saw in the first half, it was Israel Mukuamu. And you see, J.C. Horn kind of fakes the jam. It's a good no call.
Yep.
Your feet get tangled up a little bit. Receiver ends up going down. That's a good no call by the official on that side. You see J.C. Horn, you see him try to roll up, man coverage. Acts like he's going to jam you. See if he can change your release. It was just enough to throw Josh Palmer off.
Toss ahead. This is Keaton, who is tackled for a huge loss in the backfield by Aaron Sterling. A loss of 4.
Man, they missed a face mask by Aaron Sterling. And the fans didn't of course, like it on this side of the field. Ramel Keaton, watch this. Watch Aaron Sterling. He gets his hand up. We got it. Flag's got to come out right there. And that's right there out in the open. The flag's got to come out for that face mask. That was pretty egregious. Spun his head around. It looked like steer wrestling on that tackle.
Instead of half the distance to the goal and a penalty, now 3rd and 14.
And Jeremy Pruitt's down there going, what's got to happen? You know?
Gamecocks calling their first timeout. Lots of emotion for the Tennessee Volunteers in the last couple of weeks.
And Jeremy Pruitt went and got the white hat over here talking with the line judge. Now it's a game of charades. It'll show exactly what he just saw. Replay shows it. It's definitely a tough no call. I mean, it's a face mask. It's right there.
I do want to clarify, Princeton Fant was the person they tossed that ahead to. Kind of a hybrid between a tight end and a wide receiver that lost 4 yards on Sterling's tackle. It's 3rd and 14.
Well, to say the no call is huge right there is a massive understatement. And given the way things have transpired, you can see Jauan Jennings in there. He's like, I got this. In there with his teammates, talking with Jarrett Garantano. Jennings has been able to come up big in these moments before. You have to know he figures prominently in the plans to try to salvage this drive.
Garantano comes up to the line on this 3rd and 14. To the end zone. Jennings! He has that ball. Touchdown! Dangerous collision after he made the catch with photographers and Gamecocks. A career day for him, over 130 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns.
You can almost see it coming. I mean, really, Jauan Jennings is over there in the huddle with his teammates. And it almost looked like he sent Coach Pruitt and said, we got this. And they come right back to number 15, their leader, not only on offense, both sides of the football. Well, Garantano got crushed as he let go of this football. He hung it up there. Last week versus Alabama, he had Jauan Jennings open for a touchdown, overthrew it. That time, hung the ball up just enough, stayed up there for an eternity. Jennings fights and comes down with the football for 6.
Samaglia makes it 24-21.
See Jennings over there talking to T. Martin. Watch the quarterback for Tennessee. He's going down. He knows he's going to take a hit. Number 15 does too. But Tennessee leads with a touchdown. Well, Jarrett Garantano, he got grilled as he let go of that last touchdown throw. You see him holding that left wrist. You see right there, number 15, Jauan Jennings, right side of your screen. He took a shot too. Came down with that catch in the back of the end zone, ran out of real estate, ended up in a big old pile in the back of the end zone here in Neyland Stadium. But once again, another lead change, and the Volunteers able to answer.
Brooks. And this is Shi Smith coming out. Mistake as he is trapped inside the 15-yard line. Here's Jauan Jennings in the huddle with Jarrett Garantano and Jeremy Pruitt. And then on the next play, on a 3rd and 14, Garantano lobs it up there. Jennings takes this huge hit. We had, in fact, some of our camera operators up there.
Oh.
Brunson decleating Garantano, but it's 6 for the Volunteers. Taking out a couple of people down there, including our guy Wiggy, who's a beloved member of our crew.
I thought Wiggy wasn't phased. Got that camera on the play the whole time.
Delay of game, offense number 3. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Will Muschamp's quarterback, true freshman Ryan Helinski, now trailing Tennessee 24-21, not getting that play off in time.
These procedure penalties for South Carolina on this end of the field. You're already backed up with an ill-advised kick return by Shi Smith, and then a delay of game. They're going backwards, shooting themselves in the foot with these penalties.
Incomplete. To'o in coverage. Back to the studio in Darinoka.
Yeah, guys, told you about some missed opportunities for LSU, but eventually, after forcing Auburn into another 3-and-out, Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets into the end zone, missed the extra point, they lead by 3.
Sorry, Josh Vann had that one in his breadbasket. Incomplete. Sean Schamberger in coverage. 3rd and 15 for the Gamecocks.
And this crowd has been ignited here in the second half. We've talked about some physical play. They've been upset with some calls. Now they're fired up for their defense to force this 3rd down conversion and turn this offense around.
A hit as he throws. There was a whistle before that snap.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
There's a flag on the play.
Before the snap, false start, offense. Half the distance to the goal, 3rd down.
So loud in here that Steve Marlowe didn't even hear the whistle from his own crew.
The linesman had to come from the far side and let him know, hey, I dropped a flag on that. So 3rd and forever, but also, this is a dead ball. It was a pre-snap penalty. So you're allowed to send your offense, get your offense right back out on the field, but the odds of converting here, this is an incredibly dangerous down. I think you run the football, check something down quickly, try to pick up some easy yards, punt this football away. Empty backfield. No handing it off here.
We'll let the game clock reset. Listen to Neyland Stadium.
Here's Darrell Taylor.
Quick throw, caught by Feaster, gives the Gamecocks some breathing room as they get it out to the 10.
Well, if you're Tennessee, you get exactly what you wanted. On the heels of a touchdown, defense comes right back out and answers. South Carolina, the penalty, the kick return, it should have never been, and then an inability to gain really any meaningful yards. Have to punt this away.
After taking the last punt return off, Callaway is back. He's already taken one to the house, 65 yards. standing at the 50. Charlton, one of the best in the business, kicks this over his head, landing at the 35. What a terrific job by one of the best punters in college football. That went for 57 yards.
It's a phenomenal punt by Charlton right there.
Let's go down to the field, Melissa.
Guys, we've had a couple of Tennessee games this year, and I cannot say I've seen the sidelines look like it has for the last couple of minutes. It is hype down here. Now, of course, quarterback Jarrett Guarantano, we saw go out a couple of minutes ago dealing with that wrist. He is still in the locker room. I see JT Shrout and Juwan Jennings talking with quarterbacks coach Chris Winkie right now.
And Shrout is, well, actually, it's Jennings on this first snap. He took the first snap of the game and ran it for a first down. Two receiving touchdowns today. He puts his head down and stays on his feet to the 35-yard line. 5 catches for Jennings, and now a couple of rushes for 15 yards. And Shrout comes onto the field.
They're going to give Jennings, I don't know if they're going to sub him out or not. So you see JT Shrout come out there. Very limited playing time there in the first half. Jarrett Guarantano taking over for him. Guarantano obviously being evaluated after taking a pretty wicked shot on the last touchdown play.
Shrout steps up underneath. Palmer tackled at the 44-yard line. First down, Tennessee.
Josh Palmer coming alive as he looks a little bit gimpy after that catch. They're going to substitute him off the field. Tyler Bird coming in there. Good job by JT Shrout climbing in the pocket, buying time to deliver that completion to Palmer. You see he's been targeted 8 times in this game.
And now Guarantano. Make that Juwan Jennings at quarterback. Up to the 45-yard line.
We talked about it. High school quarterback. He's attempted passes here as well. So far, just a ball carrier when he's getting those direct snaps. You see Jennings. There's a competitor. That guy is laying it on the line for his teammates.
Name me a quarterback, and they're rotating into the game right now. JT Shrout under center on 2nd and 9. Wants to throw the deep ball. Callaway got it! Touchdown, Tennessee! About the reaction from Brian Maurer.
To the play, personal foul, defense number 24. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. Touchdown.
Call on McQuamu, who ended up getting beaten on that route from Callaway. No safety help deep. Looked like they checked up. McQuamu, who was playing deep coverage, just got toasted. Callaway, 3 times where he's been able to get open deep and come up with big catches.
It's a 10-point lead as Brent Samaglia makes the extra point. The redshirt freshman from Santa Clarita, California, JT Shrout, throws his first college touchdown, 55 yards. Ten-point lead for the home team there. 10-point lead for the home team here, with Jarrett Guarantano coming out of the locker room, talking to the starter from the last few weeks, Brian Maurer, cheering on the other quarterback, JT Shrout, after his 55-yard touchdown pass.
Aren't there like 3 other quarterbacks that have to be included in that somehow? Here's Callaway, the stack. And here's Mukwamu. And you'll see his safety's kind of low in the middle of the field. Callaway's clean, gets a clean release. Watch him break towards the post. Mukwamu's beaten right there. And we've seen this route before. But Mukwamu, the ball kind of hung up a little bit earlier in this game, and Mukwamu was able to recover. Look at this. That is a beautifully thrown football from J.T. Shrout.
And that is a completion to Shi Smith, as meanwhile, Ryan Hilinski tries to get this South Carolina Gamecocks offense back on track. They've had a couple of 3-and-outs in a row and lost yardage on each of those drives. A quick game is something that Hilinski loves. He throws a couple of short passes, 1 for 5, that one for 4 to Edwards. It'll be 3rd and short.
You got to get something rolling. And as you mentioned, that quick game is where Hilinski is most comfortable, or seemingly gets in the rhythm best.
You don't want to get off the field on a 3rd and 1, and Denson hesitated. He didn't get there. Henry To'o plugging the gap, and it's a 3-and-out.
On a short yardage play, you don't have a lot of time to redirect. Mon Denson ends up bending that run back right into the teeth of the defense. So they're trying, you got to try to hit it right downhill. Great job inside by the Tennessee defensive front. They stood up Javon Gwynn and made Mon Denson bend that run.
Alton with the rain coming down on Rocky Top now. A great punt, but this one sails into the end zone. It's a 66-yarder, but it gives Tennessee the ball at the 20.
And the 3rd straight 3-and-out. Look at the true freshman.
You know what's interesting about that number 11? He was one of 11 children that grew up in his house in Sacramento, California, in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. Henry Moses Ito Yese To'o. True freshman from California, one of the best linebackers coming out of high school. Could have played anywhere and chose Jeremy Pruitt. Meanwhile, it's Shrout staying on the field with 3:43 to go in the 3rd quarter. Wants to throw the deep ball again, and this to the sideline. He was looking for Ramel Keaton. Keaton covered up by Mukwamu.
Garantano is back out on the field, on the sideline. You see him there. Got some type of wrap and attention to his left wrist.
Jordan plows ahead to the 23-yard line.
Talk about Jeremy Pruitt. He was saying, coming in at halftime, we got to be more aggressive. We got to call a game more aggressively offensively. And then, of course, you're without your quarterback, but they stayed aggressive. You got J.T. Shrout in there, relative unknown as a passer in game situations, and they still continue to take those shots. Credit to the confidence they're showing. And yet another new face at quarterback in Shrout.
Tennessee, as Shrout is flushed out, and actually he is marked right on the nose of that yellow line.
That's where the ball is, not where his feet were. He had the ball in his right hand.
4th down.
He's got this ball in his right hand. Steps out right there, but the ball's out of bounds. Where the ball is. His foot's out of bounds, the ball's in his right hand. He sticks it out late.
Pruitt is furious with Shrout for making that mistake. And Brian Edwards will call for the fair catch on a ball that goes out of bounds and gives the Gamecocks the football back with 2:15 left. Tennessee only had one third-quarter touchdown all season. They've had 2 here in the third quarter.
We could see it. We talk about the confidence. Garantano hammering one in there, getting hammered. And then J.T. Shrout. They've been getting the ball to Marquez Callaway downfield all game. One was called back. The other 2 were caught. One went for a touchdown. You see that the last 4 games. 16 points scored in the second half. They have exploded offensively here early in the second half today.
Tavian Feaster, a great first half, and he's running hard for another first down. He now has 75 yards rushing. This is after he went well over 100, 175 against the Gators last week.
That was a run that they had a lot of success with last week versus Florida. A little counter play to Feaster.
Takes it out of his belly. Feaster with a block near the quarterback. Shi Smith spinning into Volunteer territory and down near the 42-yard line.
That's a fantastic catch and run after catch by Shi Smith, but the pickup by Tavian Feaster right here is what makes it happen. It's just enough. He's just aware enough to keep his quarterback clean, where DeAndre Johnson was going to have a free run at Helinski. Was able to deliver that ball to Shi Smith, who worked hard after the catch to pick up positive yards.
Feaster on the ground gets a couple. It's the first explosive play they've had since the first play of the game, the catch that Shi Smith made just 1 play ago. This one to Van inside the 36, marked out near the 35.
You see Tennessee substituting that defensive front. Right now, South Carolina in their tempo offense. Looks like they're going to throttle back now that they're in positive territory. Big third down, too. We'll work to get this conversion. Fresh legs for that Tennessee defensive front.
Complete to Van. It's 4th and 2.
Looked like he had Brian Edwards there for a moment. Ended up trying to float one in there to Van. You could see it wasn't Edwards, rather. It looked like it was Ortre Smith. But Will Muschamp says we're going.
Down 10 with the football outside the 35. Muschamp figuring it's sort of no man's land here, and his team has been good on 4th down this season.
And have not been good place kicking, that's for sure.
Ball's batted down at the line. Darrell Taylor. Turnover on downs.
It's a slow start to the season for Darrell Taylor. The SEC's leading returning sack artist from the edge. But boy, has he made his presence felt here today. Gets his hand up, gets upfield quickly. Right now, in the lap of the passer, Brian Helinski.
J.T. Shrout, after getting an earful from Jeremy Pruitt, is back on the field. With 33 seconds left in the half. Chandler shy of the 40. Almost 45 minutes of football today. What has been a physical slugfest.
That'll be the last play of the quarter. You see them, the Tennessee players holding up those scores. South Carolina 2. Gamecocks defense, they got to get a stop on this possession. They can't leak a whole lot of yardage. They need a shorter field for their offense to work.
Smokies howling. Crowds going crazy. The Southeastern Conference on Rocky Top. We head to the 4th.
Quick update on Tennessee quarterback Jarrett Garantano. I'm being told he is doubtful to return with a left hand injury, so that leaves JT Shrout as the only guy, at least with a QB, listed next to his name on the roster.
That's a good point, because Juwan Jennings has taken some snaps at quarterback today as we go to the fourth quarter with Shrout out there ready to throw again, and this is a good one to Jennings up to the 45-yard line. And he is just shy of the first down.
When you look at the South
they
Carolina,
do move the change there, Stan.
Yeah, they didn't give it to him. In South Carolina, defensively, well, the challenge has been to slow down the big explosives. Tennessee has been able to generate those repeatedly. Right now, 6 plays of 20-plus yards by this Tennessee offense.
It's another one-on-one fade. Jennings, he got it. It's 37 more.
We were just saying, what about these explosive plays by Tennessee? Pruitt wanted to be, head coach Jeremy Pruitt wanted to be aggressive in the play calling. Well, Jim Chaney heard it. Hadn't mattered if it was JT Shrout or Jarrett Garantano in there. It's been Marquez Callaway and Juwan Jennings on the other end of these big bombs.
174 yards receiving for the senior today in the game of his career. Tennessee will call timeout.
Tennessee, the first of
Vols trailed at the half. 2 third-quarter touchdowns, and they're on the march again in the fourth. Up 10 with the football. Juwan Jennings came into the game 10th in UT history in receptions. He's passed 4 guys today. He's now 6th, passing Tim McGee, Thomas Woods, Robert Meacham, and Jason Swain. Shrout. That was a dangerous pass that he got away with. Incomplete to Palmer.
We're lucky to get that one back. But you're right. You know you've had yourself a game when you've passed 4 dudes in the record books, and you've still got almost a quarter of football to play. And by the way, you moonlit, however you would say it, at quarterback. Started the game at quarterback.
I think you were right the first time.
Was I? Yeah, moonlighted.
Yeah,
sure.
he did. He started. He took the first snap of the game at quarterback and ran for a first down. Out of the game now. Callaway taking the toss. Look at that open field tackle. Terrific play by DJ Wonnum.
Wonnum, really the first time I think that we've brought him up today. Going back to how impressed Tennessee was with this defensive line. DJ Wonnum been relatively quiet most of this contest.
Jay has Kinlaw, Wonnum, and Kobe Smith, all as next-level players. Those guys all line up against Shrout on a 3rd and 11. And limit UT to 3. And Jordan's tackled by JT eBay at the 15.
Keep it conservative, pick up some yards, send out your place kicker who, a bit of a rough outing for Samaglia. But otherwise, as reliable a kicker as you're going to find in this conference.
Junior from Nashville, Tennessee, made 3 field goals against the Gamecocks 2 years ago. This is for his 2nd today from 31 yards. Back on track. Vols have scored 17 unanswered points. Time for the Gamecocks offense to get going. Sorry, we're going to see Texas A&M and South Carolina play each other coming up in a few weeks. The Aggies and the Gamecocks have played 2 of the most difficult schedules in all of college football Wonder if that's catching up to Will Muschamp's team today as they trail by 13 to the Vols. It's a team that has been unable to do much in the second half. Their last drive did go into U territory, but it was a turnover on downs. The Vols 35. Will Muschamp's team gets it at their own 25-yard line. Did move the football down the field last time, but prior to that, punt, punt, punt.
You see the 4 drives. Meanwhile, Tennessee stacking up points. Came out in the second half swinging. South Carolina has been doing nothing but taking these body blows one after the other. They've gained 38 yards on the 15 plays that they've run here in the second half.
Easter's been a bright spot. He carries balls near the 30-yard line. Will Muschamp has never lost to Tennessee. 4-0 at Florida, 3-0 at South Carolina. 7 of his 31 conference wins coming against these guys.
Just made hay over and over again versus the Volunteers. A thorn in Tennessee's side, to be sure, as a head coach.
Low throw, and Edwards can't make it. 3rd and 6.
And out in front. When you think about the 3 wins that Muschamp has gotten as a head coach at South Carolina, they've all come by a combined 12 points. They've been close games. But in this one, especially here in the second half, Tennessee able to stretch out its lead to 2 possessions. Crowd's getting into it. Tennessee up there showing pressure from the boundary. Looks like they're going to stick with it.
Walensky incomplete. Van fell down.
And he had Van open, and he knows it. Well, Tennessee showed pressure. Crowd got into it. Walensky audibles. That's one of the things they talked about. Got to make sure that you know and understand your protection. That time he was picked up. Schamberger picked up. That's nice and clean pocket. Just, that's a bad ball from Ryan Walensky.
And it's blocked! The Volunteers cover it in the end zone! Touchdown! Daniel Batuli! The senior from Nashville had the block and the touchdown. And oh, by the way, he has 15 tackles too.
My goodness. Not to be outdone. Jawan Jennings doing it all. Marquez Callaway with the punt return. Daniel Batuli said, I want in on the action. A block punt, a recovered for a touchdown. And Daniel Batuli and the Vols are rolling.
Vols have 24 unanswered points. Latest coming from a Daniel Batuli punt block and recovery in the end zone for a touchdown. How about the seniors today? Juwan Jennings, Marquez Callaway, and Daniel Batuli all scoring touchdowns and all having some of their best performances their 4-year careers. Let's go back and take a look at Batuli's block punt.
It's just not a great effort right here. You're going to see T.J. Brunson right here for the South Carolina Gamecocks, and Aubrey Sullivan's going to go this way. Batuli's going to go that way. Almost completely unimpeded. I don't know if they were expecting like punt safe from the defense. It looks like that's exactly what they thought. Instead, Batuli gets a free run at that punt, blocks it cleanly, and then recovers it before it gets out of the back of the end zone. The Vols really starting to pour it on.
Walensky trying to get get something going, and that's a good throw to Edwards up to the 40-yard line. Before that throw, Ryan was just 6 of 12 for 50 yards in the second half after throwing for over 170 in the first half.
Good-looking ball coming out of his hands that time, though. Nice velocity and pace on that pass.
That one's batted down by Darrell Taylor. Walensky's lucky Taylor didn't catch it and score again.
Well, it's tricky right there. You got a freshman at right tackle, and he's got to get the defensive end's hands down. And he just doesn't get it done. You got to dive quickly. Set like you're actually going to pass protect, and then you got to shoot at those legs. You gave it away. Darrell Taylor played it. The second pass deflection he's gotten in this game.
Second and 10, tight window in front of Alontae Taylor, and it's Ortre Smith for a first down.
Another good pass for Brian Walensky. That ball is shooting out of there. Both of those on target as well. You mentioned a tight window to fit it into for Ortre Smith.
It's Henry To'o grabbing his right ankle area.
Kind of working on it, either got stepped on or maybe kicked.
We'll check on the true freshman and be back in just a moment. It's a heck of a first half that had 5 lead changes. It has been all balls, just 1 lead change in the second half. Tennessee outscoring the Gamecocks 24-0 in the second half. South Carolina does have it at midfield with 11-12 remaining.
Difficulty's been for South Carolina in the fourth quarter. This season, coming into this game, they've allowed 83 points, most of any quarter. Finishing games has been a struggle for the Gamecocks.
Walensky, Jashai Smith turning and making a 7-yard catch, tackled by Jalen McCullough.
See right now, Walensky passing well, playing the best rhythm he's been in this entire second half.
Ortre Smith moving the chains in front of Alontae Taylor down to the 38. Interesting to see Mon Denson standing next to Walensky on these plays as a decoy in that draw game.
Can assist sometimes in protection as well. You know, they've had some difficulty, obviously, with some of the edge rushers. Darrell Taylor, most notably, although Taylor not in the lineup right now along the front.
This one thrown into the stands. Second down. More college football coming up in just a few minutes on SEC Network at 7:30. It's our SEC Saturday night matchup. Mizzou traveling to Lexington to face Kentucky. Boy, Mizzou is a different team away from Como, winning all 5 of their games on Faurot Field. Only played 2 road games, lost at Wyoming, and the shocking loss at Vandy last week.
Both those losses somewhat shocking. You almost wonder, is that a strange side effect from spending so many games in a row at home?
Walensky's hit hard as he throws. It's third down. Kevon Bennett, who had a sack 2 weeks ago, with the pressure there.
See Eric Douglas in there at left tackle, and he gets beat with the spin move. We're talking with Wanye Morris, the starting left tackle for Tennessee. He said that Kevon Bennett, one of their better pass rushers, as you see Darrell Taylor is down on the field. Boy, what a night number 19 has had.
A couple of sacks tonight, a couple sacks versus Mississippi State. Had a stress fracture in his tibia that limited him in August. Taylor's knee twist as all 4 of those players collide. Fifth-year senior from Hopewell, Virginia. You hear all the fans chanting his name. They had his back after the call went against him in Tuscaloosa last week that extended that drive and led to an Alabama touchdown.
Yes. That was another one of those, I'm sure, frustrating plays from a week ago, but certainly Tennessee bouncing back. 19 certainly bouncing back as he's helped off the field. Kind of got whipped around there towards the end of it, maybe hyperextending his knee, it looked like.
Colleague Gene Wojciechowski had some great comments about that man, Jeremy Pruitt, last Saturday night, saying that even though the team lost 35-13, it felt like it became Pruitt's team last week, became his program. Boy, they look good tonight. Defense is all over him on a 3rd and 10. It's another sack, this one for DeAndre Johnson.
They tried to slide the protection, but you're leaving a pass rusher one-on-one with the tight end, Kyle Markway, right here. He ends up losing. He loses right now at the line of scrimmage. Truth is, Eric Douglas at left tackle, he loses as well. It was meet me at the quarterback. Ryan Hilinski didn't have a prayer on that one.
4th and 17, just to get past the 28 to keep this drive going. Hilinski straddling the line. He's past it now, and he's tackled at the 35. There is a flag down.
Holding, offense, number 71. That penalty is declined. First down, Tennessee.
It's been a house of horrors for Will Muschamp's team in the second half tonight.
His quarterback's beat up. His team looking somewhat deflated. Well, a couple of big games, big game last week versus Florida. The Vols came out here in the second half. And not only offensively, but in special teams as well. Defense forcing these stifling drives.
We were wondering during the last commercial break if Jauan Jennings was okay. Well, he's a quarterback again. Lead blocking from Ty Chandler. And he gets a few yards. Jauan's had a career night with 174 yards receiving, as you see Brunson and Jerome Carvin getting into it.
Yeah,
Jauan, 2 touchdowns tonight, Stinch.
The passing yards for Tennessee offensively. Total yards, both of them season highs. And coming into this game, we were thinking, you know what, both these teams are going to try to run the football, especially the way Tennessee had success on the ground last week versus Alabama. Who would have thought that the passing game would have been this explosive?
Jennings to Shrout, and the handoff to Chandler, and he's past midfield up to the 49-yard line. 14 more for the junior from Nashville.
We just got done talking about it, right? Run game kind of got away from it. Well, partly maybe a function of a lot of new faces on this offensive front.
And this guy hasn't played tonight. You never knew what you were going to get at quarterback. How much Garantano? Would it be Shrout's game? Well, it turned into Garantano's game before he got injured. Back to Shrout they go. And it's a first down into Gamecocks territory.
False start, offense, number 81. 5-yard penalty, first down.
You think about what had to be managed at the most important position on the field for Tennessee in this game. So you come in, you start with Jauan Jennings. Then you get JT Shrout in there, and you got to be careful with how he's incorporated into the offense. And then here in the second half, you just cut him loose. Because Jared Garantano, I think otherwise, absent that injury, Garantano probably goes the distance in this game, the way that he was playing. Instead, JT Shrout forced back into service due to that injury, and he has really answered the call.
To the 50-yard line, tackled by TJ Brunson. It'll be second down. It's interesting what Travaris Robinson, the defensive coordinator for South Carolina, said about Jim Chaney. He said he's a patient play caller that makes your corners tackle, makes everyone on the field get involved with your defense. And we've seen that patience from Coach Chaney all night.
Tell you what will also make your corners do is cover. And we've seen that, right? Because they're repeatedly, and even early in this game, they have been stretching the Gamecocks defense vertically.
Look that clock as Chandler falls down at the 46.
Well, part of it. We were talking with Jim Chaney yesterday, and he said, you know, you want to get your offensive line, you want to be physical, establish that ground game. But it's once you get a lead, this is when you start piling up the rush yards. And they said that the offensive line seemingly took over the game, or could have, had the potential of taking over the game, I should say, a week ago. Never really came to fruition. In this game, and in this scenario, this is where you find out if your offensive line is capable of taking over a football game. 6 minutes to play with a lead. Can you finish with your offense on the field?
At 45. It'll be 4th down. Your SEC Film Room show is popular. We've done a lot of those sort of shows in the postseason as well. I could listen to you talk ball with Coach Chaney all day, because the two of you are so passionate about the game. And as you said, Coach Chaney, he always has these little isms too that you remember. Hang your hat on being physical, boys. That's what he said as he sat down in his chair yesterday and met with us. I love a couple weeks ago when he said, I'm a wandering gypsy, man. That's why I kept moving around all over this country. Keeps dreaming of fly fishing out in Wyoming somewhere. Sure he'll be dreaming about that after this great performance tonight as they call timeout with 1 on the play clock.
Tell you what I didn't appreciate. He said, you know what you got to do sometimes? You got to loud talk. He said, you know what, Taylor, you just need to loud talk this way.
Right.
Did I get you to yell at me, man? What's going on?
So a delay of game as Tennessee leads 41-21. Yeah, we asked him, how are you coaching those guys up on the offensive line? I yell at them really loud, and that scares them, he said. He said, you should try that with Stench.
Yeah. Just turn off the microphone, pal.
Soccer-style kick that works out for Brooks. As Gamecocks will get it inside the 10. Alyssa.
Yeah, guys, we have some pretty great programming on the SEC Network. Monday nights, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. You can catch Greg McElroy, Marcus Spears, and myself on Thinking Out Loud. It's probably one of the craziest college football shows out there. And, of course, it's mostly SEC, but we do take you around the footprint. Right now, we're right in the middle of a big-time feud with Marty and McGee, those jokers that are on Wednesday nights. So you got to tune in because there have been some very impressive pranks between the two shows.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what's next.
It's with Halloween coming up, right?
Yeah, I believe Alyssa may be going over to the other side, though, next Wednesday. As Nick Muse makes the catch up to the 20. Hey, Alyssa, we got a surprise for you, my friend. We're so proud of you and all that you've done in your career, as you were an alumni of the School of Journalism at South Carolina a few weeks ago, as they had a ceremony there. As that's incomplete to Feaster. Last Friday was the ceremony. 6 honorees in total, including former Gamecocks women's basketball All-American Asia Wilson. Look at Alyssa on the screen, graduate in 2015. It's great to see you getting honored for that. Well-deserved, my friend.
Well, I appreciate it, and I got a great broadcast journalism degree from the South Carolina School of Journalism that has allowed me to remain unbiased and call this game fairly today.
Walensky flushed out with a flag down. Let's see, we'll check on this flag here. As Tennessee's pointing the Gamecocks' way. What a performance by the Volunteers in the second half. A game that had 5 lead changes in the first half. Gamecocks led 21-17, but it has been all Vols here in the second half. Tennessee's defense has limited South Carolina to 92 yards in the third and fourth quarter.
Well, when you look at it, the first half especially.
2 fouls on the play, both against South Carolina. Holding, number 71, is declined. Holding, number 52, will be accepted. 10-yard penalty, second down.
It was the way the game started, the way the half ended, that got South Carolina on top, both to start this game and to finish the half. But that was it. And in the middle portion, Tennessee was able to really assert itself. And then here in the second half, it has been all balls.
On that Auburn-LSU finish in just a second. Lenski hands to Denson, and Mon is up past the 15. Dari, what's happening down at Tiger Stadium?
Well, guys, it's a little too late, quite frankly, for Auburn, though they do get into the end zone here. Seth Williams from Bo Nix, but LSU essentially running out the clock with 30 seconds to go, up by 3.
3rd and 14. It's caught by Shi Smith. His Warrior misplayed it. It is 4th down at the 26-yard line. I want to mention that Kentucky and Mizzou is coming up after us. Tom Jordan and Cole in Lexington.
Quite a finish in that game a season ago up in Columbia, Missouri.
Lenski 4th and 4, moves the chains with the throw to Smith. He's had a career high today in yards and receptions. Shi is 10 for 141.
It started out hot. First play of the game, took it to the house, 75-yarder. He's come up big in a couple other moments. Hasn't been enough in this one.
It was like 3 days ago. With another one to Shi. I don't understand why Jeremy Pruitt, Jimbo Fisher, trying to think back to other coaches that have coached against this guy, have said that's a National Football League player.
He's dangerous, there's no doubt. A lot of attention to Brian Edwards, rightfully so, with circus-style catches that he's able to execute.
This is Edwards, became the career leader in South Carolina history, going past Kenny McKinley in this game with career receptions. McKinley and Edwards, the only two to go over 200. He made one of the more remarkable catches I've ever seen in person. Continues with Muse grabbing his 4th ball. Gamecocks will have to regroup, Stench, now at 3 and 5 as they play Vandy on SEC Saturday night next week. Tennessee will host UAB next Saturday night on ESPN2.
Well, you touched on it as Feaster can't quite handle the swing pass. Well, South Carolina's schedule pretty daunting. And this was a gateway game for both of these teams. Obviously, the Gamecocks came in with one more win. They're trying to muscle your way to bowl eligibility at 6. Tennessee's going to be able to match that with a victory here tonight. 3 wins, an opportunity in the balance of their schedule to make it to the postseason as well.
Exactly, yeah. I don't know how many people saw that coming when they were 1 and 4 after the Florida game. As the Vols will call timeout, 2:11 to go. Now here's today's Gatorade Fueling Performance. How about the seniors from Tennessee?
Well, you talk about all the young players, and yeah, there's some good ones. But Marquez Callaway, punt return, touchdown. Capitalize on the good field position, force a long punt, make them pay. Jawan Jennings, touchdown. Right before that, and then a blocked punt by Daniel Batuli. He's making all kinds of tackles, and then of course special teams plays. And Darrell Taylor, a couple of sacks, passes broken up. This is a senior class that's been through quite a bit, there's no doubt. But they showed up to play in a very important game. They've had 2 must-wins. Think about back to the Mississippi State game. They needed to get that victory. They got it. They needed to get this win. They got it.
There's only 6 guys that play for Tennessee that have been here 4+ years. Nigel Warrior and Tyler Bird are the other 2 that weren't used in that graphic. All have contributed significantly tonight. It just gives you an idea of what a deficit Jeremy Pruitt is operating from in terms of total depth. There is a buy-in that is happening in Knoxville right now.
No, not to mention, we talk about some of the players lost to injury in this game. Both your starting tackles out of the game, which incidentally, both of them were true freshmen. If you're a Tennessee Volunteer, that's difficult to overcome.
Should be a free play on 4th and 5. In fact, they whistle it dead. Maybe the Vols were drawn off. We'll see. Once again, Mizzou and Kentucky coming up next on SEC Network. We're talking about that finish last year in Como. Cats were down 14-3 in the 4th quarter. Lynn Bowden took a punt return back. And then Terry Wilson threw the touchdown pass to C.J. Conrad to win it at the gun.
After a PI to Ahmad Wagner, because of course it was. That guy.
Renamed Flagner.
That's right, it's perfect. Just throw it near him.
Well, in the SEC, we will turn our attention to what's going to happen in Jacksonville next week. It'll be the featured game in the Southeastern Conference.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Before the snap, offside, defense number 95. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down. Afterward, unsportsmanlike conduct number 13 for South Carolina. His first of the game. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced. It will be 1st and 10.
So Shi Smith with the personal foul call. How about the Dogs and the Gators next week in Jacksonville, the place you played in a couple of times?
Well, you think coming into the season, you thought, you know, there's a good bit of separation likely between Georgia and Florida. Not so. As we've seen as this season has unfolded, Florida with their lone defeat coming to a West Division opponent, LSU, an undefeated LSU, who will go into their bye week preparing for Alabama a couple Saturdays from now. And of course, Florida playing a backup quarterback, because who isn't in the SEC this year? Well, really only 4 teams when you think about it. Texas A&M, Kellen Mond, who had a great game today. Bo Nix at Auburn, a true freshman. And there's Jake Fromm at the University of Georgia, who's somehow been able to stay healthy as well. And then you go out there to Missouri.
Kelly Bryant, who did come out of the game a couple weeks ago against Troy with a knee injury, but you're right, that's it. Mac Jones is starting tonight for the Crimson Tides. The first time Nick Saban at Alabama has ever had to go to a backup quarterback to make a start after Greg Emerson had that outstanding open field sack on Tua last week. Watch out. Kevon Bennett, AKA Biscuits Boy, is all over Helinski again.
And no, I forgot about the Heisman contending quarterback at LSU, my bad, Joe Burrow. They haven't had to rotate him out yet. It certainly wouldn't have been for play, my goodness. Another big victory for the LSU Tigers. Auburn's giving them fits. And there for a little while, that was a close game. Of course, the Tigers ultimately able to stretch that lead out and secure a victory.
Interesting to see how South Carolina will regroup from this game. They have proven that they can play with anyone. What do they have when they host Clemson on Thanksgiving weekend? That Helinski pass was almost picked off. Bryce Thompson was back there. All right, Mizzou and Kentucky is on SEC alternate channel. I'll start over there and then be here as soon as the game is over.
How about those two? A couple of seniors. They wanted this win. You think they want to see if they can extend their careers here at Tennessee? They knew they had to get this one to make it to bowl eligibility.
On 4th and 10, Helinski's pass is deflected at the line by DeAndre Johnson. It's a turnover on downs. Tennessee takes over. It's the first time USC has been shut out in the second half this year, 24-0. And now you look at the Vols schedule. I know the FPI has some faith in the Kentucky Wildcats, but Kentucky's got all kinds of problems at quarterback right now. I see a roadmap to the postseason.
They really do. I mean, you think about, perhaps a dangerous trip to Como, the way that Missouri has played at home. Because, as you mentioned earlier, a different team when they're there in Columbia. But otherwise, you're talking about a Tennessee football team that has rebounded, pulled themselves up off the canvas. The season couldn't have started worse, and yet they have muscled their way back into this season. You talk to the coaches, we've had them 3 times, and they'll talk about it. We see them in practice. They give tremendous effort. They have not laid down. They've found ways to get better, and their attitude has been outstanding, and it's been under adverse circumstances. This wasn't a clean game. We've seen 3 different quarterbacks, if you want to throw in Jauan Jennings.
We've also seen all 3 wins this season in this crew, as we were here for Mississippi State and the UT Chattanooga game. We will not be here for the UAB game next Saturday night. That's a 7 o'clock kick on ESPNU, just to update that.
Think about it. So there's a quarterback / receiver. Had a career night in Jauan Jennings / running back.
JT Shrout and Jauan Jennings on the field tonight have been terrific. Jarrett Garantano with a terrific performance in his own right before coming out with an injury, threw for 229 yards. And look at the hug he just got from Jeremy Pruitt.
What a difference a week makes.
Tennessee ambushes South Carolina in the second half after the Gamecocks led heading to the third quarter. These 2 guys talk a lot, both coming from the Saban coaching tree. As the Vols get the win tonight to improve to 3-5, and Jeremy Pruitt is on the field with Alyssa.
Coach, you guys have been fighting and clawing for the last couple of weeks. What does this win mean to you?
Well, you think about how this game started. They scored on the first play of the game. Our kids responded. South Carolina's kids responded. But at halftime, our guys made a decision to play cleaner football, to play longer, play harder, and it showed.
Jauan Jennings did it all for you guys today. What did you think of his performance?
Jauan done a great job, but all of our guys done a great job. All of our guys. This was a team win. I'm so happy for our guys, the way they competed, persevered, and they put on more steam.
Your defense didn't allow South Carolina any points in the second half. What'd you think of the way they played?
Well, we kept them from running the football. That helped. Made them one-dimensional. So, and then we got a lead, so that helped. But we had 2 special team scores. Huge day for the special teams.
Thank you, Coach.
Tennessee 41-21 victory tonight over South Carolina. Let's send it to Lexington. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, and Cole Kublik.